years ago, I saw some kids being sponsored to go to school, I think in Australia. Some president's kids being sponsored by the government to go to school in Australia.
President's kids?
President's grandkids or something, or nephews or something. For one of the former presidents. Those kids would afford to go to school. Their grandfather or their uncle, whoever it was.
In Kenya?
Yeah, in Kenya. They were Kenyan. But the government gave a bursary for them to go to school in Australia. See, leaders of my stature don't...
we don't deal with peasants. You, sir...
I will not be motivated by a meal and an Uber trip to this place. You know where I shoot from. You can motivate a Gen Z and entice them with a trip to that place and a meal. I'm not trying to demean you or elevate myself, man, but at that point I was already feeling so demeaned.
Does the name start with a G? How did I know?
I was hanging out with Mwaf a couple of days ago, and I told him that there are cults, then there's religions. So in a cult, the founder is alive. In a religion, the founder is dead.
Well, the difference, there's no big difference. So the origin of religion is started off as a cult.
Exactly.
Every other time with Eric, we had to run it back, man. I had an amazing time on this gentleman's podcast, man. We've been corresponding for a while. He invited me to his platform. We had a blast. We went everywhere. Conspiracy, life, religion. Ogato's in the building. How you doing, brother?
Doing great, man.
I see you got the memo from Black. By the way, I noticed you wear black on all your pods.
I wear black all the time.
What's that about?
I'm trying to not have to make so many decisions. So dressing is the least of my worries.
That's some wealth talk. Like,
no, man.
Amongst the 1,000 things that I do, I do not want to have to think about my closet because, I'm saving lives.
It's the easiest thing, man. Every time that I get ready in the morning, I know, if you ask me today, what am I going to wear 2 weeks from now? I know it's going to be black pants and a black V-neck t-shirt.
So does your closet look like Dexter's lab?
Probably, if you'd say that.
Put Dexter's lab on the screen, man. Dexter's closet on the screen, man.
That was dope. But I also think that it enables me to save time on that, and I think time is. How do you measure time, by the way?
I'm still on these devices. I don't know about you, man.
Yeah, me too. I haven't.
What are you using, man?
I'm using. I use a watch too. I mean,
by the way, this guy raised the bar, man. Today, all I've given him is Coca-Cola. I left his podcast with a watch. And I had his good friend Kibe also here on Saturday. And Kibe also had a watch. I'm like, man,
yeah,
you're balling, eh?
Mine, no. So you and Kibe have been on my mind since way back.
Pause.
And
you know what pause means, right?
No, I don't know what it means. What does it mean?
No homo.
Oh, okay.
When you say something that teeters on the fence of,
yeah,
like you and Kibe have been on my mind for so long, man.
For all the right reasons.
Of course. But hey, bro. Your podcast is, I avail myself for podcasts when I can. A lot of the times I acquiesce to the style of the person who is interviewing me. And stylistically, I think yours came closest to what I do. So it was so easy. I really enjoyed it, man. Like I really enjoyed it.
I'm glad you did, man.
And I enjoyed also watching it back. I was like, wow, this is good content, good quality content, man. So you're out here, man. Don't posture yourself as a fan anymore, bro. We're equals. Yeah, we're equals, man.
True, man.
Yeah,
but it's been beautiful, watching the growth of your pod and seeing the kind of conversations that you have. But I feel like they bring out aspects of guests that you rarely see in other spaces. I think that's awesome. I was watching you and Khalif Cairo. A couple of months ago, maybe a year ago, almost, something like that. And I think you brought a sort of him that I haven't seen before. And I think one thing that we all have in common is that we are aviators in some way, shape, or form. And bringing out that aspect out of a person, I think, is awesome. Making them comfortable enough to share things about themselves, their character, their personality that you don't see elsewhere is awesome.
But
so big up, man.
But you're a somewhat of an eccentric guy. Let's just even start with your idea of eccentric is a positive thing, man.
I don't know. Okay, I'll take it as positive.
Yeah. Eccentric is positive.
Teetering on the edge of
genius, teetering on the edge of
okay, now when you say that, I don't know. I mean, if you were to put Einstein on one end of the spectrum and put, I don't know, someone else on the other end of the spectrum, I would be somewhere in the middle.
Who's the other guy?
I don't want to mention.
No, let's think of someone. Who's the other guy? Who represents the counter to Einstein? Who's anti-Einstein?
I don't know. Who can I think of right now? Bryan Cranston. I'm going to think about him because he was a fake chemist who made it big in Breaking Bad.
Nah, man, don't hate on Bryan Cranston, man. Bryan Cranston,
I love the show, though.
Bryan Cranston gave us Malcolm in the Middle as well, bro. Do you remember Malcolm in the Middle?
Yeah.
He was the dad.
Oh, he was the dad?
Hal was Bryan Cranston, bro.
Oh,
that guy is
I think by the time I was noticing who Bryan Cranston was, after watching Malcolm in the Middle used to come on TV back in the day, and I never used to watch it. Watch it.
Maybe.
The song.
I don't know.
Have you seen what it looks like nowadays?
Repeat the question. I used to think about Malcolm in the Middle when I was in school during lunchtimes a Thursday. I'm like, Thursday night at around 8, Malcolm in the Middle.
Yeah,
bro, we used to wait with my brothers. Like, we couldn't wait for Malcolm in the Middle. Frankie Muniz. Amazing guy. Don't ever hate on Bryan Cranston. Shout out Bryan Cranston.
No, I'm not hating on him. I'm just saying, but for the sake of saying.
Let's talk about the wardrobe thing. I'm curious, man. So I'm not a fashionista by any means. Because I'm a chubby guy. I like t-shirts, polo shirts, basic jeans, basic shoes. I just like to look presentable. I'm not a guy. I'm not a Met Gala kind of guy. But I'm also not I'll wear black jeans, a black shirt and blue jeans for the rest of my life.
For me, it's black pants.
How hard of a decision to pick clothes is it that you want to wear?
Time, man. I mean, have you seen how much? So I was telling you, so me comparing myself and my wife in the morning, and how we try getting ready. I'll be up and ready in 5 minutes. Factoring in 5 minutes of showering, so 10 minutes, and my wife would probably take 10 times that amount of time, and part of that time is taken in deciding what to wear. And I see that all the time. Folks who want to look
planning. Choose your order of the day before. Bro.
Yeah, that's why I've chosen mine 10 years from now. and it's always easy because I feel like it gets me in my mojo. I mean, my students always will experience me like this forever. They are not going to experience something else. And when I compare that, I was having a chat with a friend of mine, and they was telling me if you were teaching in a school in Kenya, what will happen is that your students will think that you don't have clothes because you're wearing the same clothes every day. I mean, it doesn't matter at the end of the day, as long as you're showing up and you're doing what you need to do.
We used to give our teachers a hard time for their wardrobe. I know. I think kids don't understand, or we don't understand economics at that age. And I remember we gave teachers a hard time about how they used to dress. But now I wanna get into, because I didn't get to broach this so much on your platform because it was you carrying the conversation. But what do you do for a living, bro?
Man.
And what's been the journey to get there? Because, bro, what you do for a living to me is insane. It's insane. It's your daily life. So what do you do for a living, brother?
All right, I'm a podcaster every day. Okay, never mind. So I'm a researcher in a field called regenerative medicine, and I teach in a university in a technology department. So I teach medical innovation in a university. And so I merge these two. So I'm a regenerative medicine professor.
Professor? What is regenerative medicine?
So it's a field of engineering where we bring together basic sciences and our understanding of engineering and understanding of the human biological experience to create organs. And these organs will be used to replace organs that have failed.
You get to create organs, bro. Name someone. I challenge anyone in the comments. Name one guy who creates organs for a living, man. What is creating organs, bro? What does that mean?
All right, so I'm gonna go up a couple steps back. So you see, as we grow older, our body starts failing, either through disease or trauma, accidents, stuff like that. Parts of our body start failing, and mode of replacement of the function of those organs is usually transplants. So you either do transplants from somebody else, from someone of your similar species, or from another species like a pig. And then the hope is that this function will be retained will be regained in the individual who lost function in that organ. But unfortunately, what happens is that sometimes there's challenges. So rejection is one of the greatest challenges. So you have to be
what causes rejection?
So antigens in the transplant organ will be detected by your antibodies, and so your body will produce antibodies that will reject that organ essentially.
So how do you prepare for? How do you get a best case scenario where the receiver would not produce antigens? Or
so they will do as many tests as possible. So they'll look at the antigens that are available in the patient, or not in the patient, but in the donor, versus what the profile of the receiver or the patient is like. And so in that way, they try as much as possible to match the patient and the donor. So there's a bunch of things that they look at, doctors would look at, to ensure that there's low chances of rejection. But then again, even if there's rejection, there will be anti-rejection medicine. So you will be most likely under this medication for the rest of your life, which is unfortunate.
Is there a backup? Like, is there usually like a backup organ for the procedure? It's just one.
It's most of the time it's only one. You see, there's an organ waitlist. So in a case of North America, which is where I work, there's a waitlist.
It's Canada, right?
Yeah, I live in Canada. Most of our data is comparable in Canada and the US, so we use data from both countries. So if there is a patient, the patient's going to be on a wait list. And so once you get to the top, essentially, you would then get the next available organ.
So what's the criteria for this waiting list? Because I'm assuming there's a whole bunch of people that need organs at a specific time, and sometimes perhaps the organs are not enough. So how do they say, let's Ben and not Bob?
So, I mean, the moment when you go in the wait list, that is where you are in the pecking order of folks in the waiting list. Well, I don't think they try to portray that. They just say, there's this waiting list that exists, but that is what basically happens. And so if you are in a hospital, so if you are in a particular region, and in that particular region, you are in the top of the pecking order, so the next available organ would go to you. And so mostly these organs are found from accident patients, so car accident, motorcycle accidents. But these motorcycle accidents now are less, I'd say. Cars are safer now. Cars have all these sensors around them. So cars are safer now. So when accidents used to happen long ago...
So cars are safer, so damn less organs, that's what you're saying.
What's that?
Cars are safer, so damn less organs now.
Yeah, of course, man. Of course. So less organs are available now, which is a good thing because people get to leave, right? Previously, motorcycle accidents used to be the largest donors because of their brain would die. So they would be brain dead, and essentially then they would have their organs harvested.
But the person has to give, is there like something around consent before the fact?
Yes.
Where people say, I'm an organ donor. Are you an organ donor?
Yeah, so you sign up to become an organ donor.
So you get a card that's in your wallet.
It could be in your wallet, could be on your keys, it could be...
Are you an organ donor?
Am I an organ donor? Yes, I'm an organ donor. Donating stem cells, not organs.
What's the difference?
So stem cells are these cells in our bodies that can regenerate, that can differentiate into other types of cells. So as an adult, you have 40 trillion cells. These 40 trillion cells are of different kinds. And they came from one cell, when the ovum and the ovum and the sperm made one cell basically, and those kept dividing into what you have now, the 40 trillion cells. So at day 5 of the embryo, you have what we call embryonic stem cells. So these eventually become all the types of cells that you have in your body. So think about your cardiac cells, your muscle cells. Think about your eye cells, your lens made up of cells. Think about the many parts of your body. And so stem cells give rise to this finite, final type of cells.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I'm at stem cells. That's what I was saying.
So why stem cells only, not organs? What's the principle around for you specifically?
For me specifically, I don't have a reason yet. maybe I don't have the motivation to sign up as an organ donor yet.
But the isn't it just a naturally noble thing because
I think so.
You want to be here.
I think so too.
Or are you holding on to some African roots, like where you don't want your body mutilated as you tell?
No, man. I think once we go, we're gone. Once we go, we're gone.
So why are you not an organ donor?
I don't have the bravery to sign up to become an organ donor. I mean, I have a cousin of mine.
You're a harvester, though.
Well, I create organs. I don't harvest organs.
Okay. You have a cousin?
Yeah, I have a cousin who's signed up as an organ donor. He's a motorcycle rider, and so he signed up as an organ donor, and that was beautiful. So there's some provinces in Canada actually where when you sign up for your driving license, they automatically sign you up for organ donation.
Are you serious?
So you have the option though of withdrawing from being an organ donor.
Okay.
As opposed to my province, Ontario, you decide to sign up as an organ donor yourself. So maybe in the next couple of years, I'm going to be brave enough to.
What's the ratio of available organs to required organs?
Beautiful question. So in Canada right now, let's go with the data in the US. So in the US, there's about 110,000 individuals on the wait list, as opposed to 15,000 available people who have signed up to be organ donors.
Just about 10% of availability.
Yeah.
Damn. So if I'm number 115K, I'm not gonna get an organ, most likely.
Well, it is possible that
unless I go to East Asia.
Think about it this way: these folks could pass away, and automatically you probably jump up the list. But of course, there's many other factors that they look at. But then, the saddest thing though is that as we're sitting here talking, you and I having this chat right now, by the end of this conversation, it is possible that we develop about 6 people who are waiting for an organ for transplant.
And can I, because I have a good friend, shout out Tony. Tony donated his organ to his kidney to his father.
Yeah. Beautiful.
So as someone who is a relative and the requisite tests are done to confirm that you're a potential match, I'm using very loose language around it. You can skip the line and offer your...
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you can. So in that case, you wouldn't necessarily go on the organ wait list. So folks on the organ wait list are probably waiting for something like a heart. They're waiting for a liver. They're waiting for... I have a list of pancreas, stuff like that. So you wouldn't find... if you have a parent or a potential match who's close to your kin, you don't necessarily go on the organ wait list.
So this list or this hierarchy, this is for Raya though.
For what?
This is for Raya.
I see where the conversation is going.
Because Dick Cheney is not waiting for 115,000 guys.
So you would be
the late John D. Rockefeller. How many transplants did he have?
Well, I'm not sure how many he had. Back then, though,
let's put that on the screen right now. He
had quite a number.
Not John D. of old, the one who passed away, Rockefeller, the guy who passed away, I think 6 years ago. Finally, after like quite a few transplants.
What organs was he getting?
I think it was heart. I'll ask my producer to just confirm that, but he had quite a few, and I always thought like younger people have more of a priority because you have more life potentially to live versus like a guy who's in his 90s.
So that is one of the greatest conundrums that I always see when I'm interviewing students who are going into medical school, because there's a type of questions that come up during the interview. So you'd be asked a question like, you have a patient who is... So 2 patients have come in. One is a 20-year-old guy. He's an alcoholic, and he got into an accident, and he probably needs, his liver was shattered or something was shattered, and he needs a replacement. And you have this 70-year-old professor who's, just living out his life. He's
doing my life, I've been living righteously.
And you have to decide between the two. So who will you give the organ to?
20-year-old.
Why?
Because he's 20. He's probably, by 23, he'll probably have stopped fucking.
By the way, there's no right or wrong answer.
I'm giving the 20-year-old man. 70, bro, you live your life, man. Thank you, man. We thank you for everything you've done, cuz.
Well, what is the possibility that he was on the brink of doing some groundbreaking
to be very honest,
research?
2070? Let's toss a coin, bro. Let's toss a coin, man. Because philosophically, of course, 70-year-old noble guy probably has a lot to offer. Wisdom, has probably given so much, so deserving. I served in the war. I was in the Gulf War, Vietnam War, whatever. He also probably has a family. He's probably the patriarch of a wider family. Everyone's looking up to this guy. And then here's this fuck up, man, get on his motorbike, man, drinking, riding, but who has all this potential life ahead of him. Could be anything, you know?
Yeah.
So if I was a doctor, because I don't know them personally, I'm tossing a coin.
Sounds like a good decision. Because there's no right or wrong answer in this case.
Yeah.
What the interviewer will be looking for, though, is if this student has the aptitude to become a sound decision maker in the face of pressure. So you can't say, for instance,
so bring me his transcripts.
Well, you don't have the time for transcripts, right? But the reasoning you gave is proper reasoning. Because you gave options. I have this kid to consider and all the potential that he has. I have this professor to consider and all the, similarly the potential that they have, regardless of the decision that got them to where they are. I think that's what is important when you're picking out this medical students. So whatever you have in the future is people who can make good decisions. And I have a problem with the way we select our medical students here. It's because anybody who got this good grades in high school and has the propensity to pay for it.
That's how you're being carried in. What do you want to be?
When you're being carried on national TV,
a doctor. I want to be a doctor. And that guys go to med school. It's like shit.
You know what I signed up for?
It's not what I signed up for by any means. I have a good friend of mine. It's called Dr. Dimbil. We interviewed him here. He's an amazing guy, brilliant mind. But I can just see how the weight of being a medical practitioner here, a doctor here, it doesn't seem like it has the fulfillment that he perhaps thought it would, being a doctor. We used to watch, what was that show that ended with chasing cars?
House? No?
There was House, there was the other, Grey's Anatomy.
Yes.
There was so much love stories intertwined.
Yeah, man. Grey's Anatomy is a soap opera.
It was a soap opera.
There's nothing medical. I mean, they had a few
do doctors shag that much, though? Those doctors were shagging, bro.
Man,
they were shagging.
I've had the opportunity to talk to a couple of doctors, both in
shag dating.
Not yet.
Okay. Not yet. He's a married guy. He says not yet, huh? I hope your wife is watching.
Yeah, she's probably going into med school. Who knows?
The same. That was a save. That was a nice one.
So yes, I've had the opportunity of interacting with a bunch of them in North America and here, man, and whatever happens behind, you see, you're in a very intimate space. So let's say you are you're a surgeon and you're in a very intimate space with 5 other guys. You spend time together and
cabin fever of sorts.
Yes, of sorts. Yes. And so whatever happens after you've interacted with these people, you spend so much time together, and you see sometimes when they're holding their weapons of war, their weapons of trade, the angles in which your assistants are standing in reference to you sometimes are, very weird. Hold this for me. So you gotta hold this, tool for me and put your hand somewhere, and my hand is somewhere, and you're feeling their, not their skin as well, but their body, stuff like that.
So I'm assuming also the idea around, perhaps a theater where operation is happening and success or not, we saved his life together. Oh my God, we lost this patient together.
Emotions are tied, man.
Let's go and celebrate or mourn together. So I can see how that plays out. But I don't want to skim over this question because the world is not a fair place. I think by the time you're our age, we're about the same age, you kind of understand that intimately. Like the world is not fair. It's not necessarily, it's not equitable. So if it's not equitable, it means a president is not going on a waiting list for an organ in the same manner Raya is going to the waiting list. So how is that? What is the legal framework that justifies that, for example?
So the way that it will be painted or the way that it will be presented would be that they were on a wait list and somehow they got to the top.
David Rockefeller 6 heart transplant.
Yeah, 6.
That's beautiful, man.
Beautiful. He had 6 heart transplants. That guy, by the time he was having his 8th, he looked like this.
The fact that you even have one successful one in itself is beautiful. So the fact that you have 6 successful ones is awesome.
But you think he has? Don't you think they have access to? There's this concept I've had people talk about where people are, the older they get, you can almost buy of course, buy is a loose term again, like 10 years back, through medical procedures. And of course, this is mainly done by the elitist team. You see guys traveling abroad, and former president, bro, just came back looking healthy. At the time, he looked like he was on
headed somewhere.
Like he was knocking on someone's door, man.
Yeah.
Then like a few months later, the guy's back, like, hey, the Watu's is back.
Yeah. So do you buy that story? The story that was running around?
Not in the conspiratorial sense. I think just in a modern medicine, I can afford it kind of sense. That's not maybe accessible to us with our measly life insurance.
No, what I would say to that is this. Think about it. If you lived 100 years ago. If you lived 100 years ago, the chance of your survival to become, your age right now you'll be teetering on old age. Like you'll be
an elder.
You'll be an elder in the society right now at, whatever age you are right now. But think about it now. When you're 70 years old, you still probably got 30 more years to live. Can you think about it? If you go back to the time that Jesus was alive, so Jesus was alive in about 2,000 years ago or thereabout, the life expectancy then was 45 years. So 45 years, man, you are old. Jesus started his ministry at 30 years. So the guy was old.
My friend famously says Methuselah was probably like 33.
I mean, when you go back to creation, I mean, the way that I would answer the creation story then would be that at that point, mutations were fewer. You had healthier food to eat and stuff like that, and so the lifespan could be longer.
But human ingenuity is amazing because I will circle back to that question around accessibility of these said organs. But the fact that because accessibility is restricted because we are kind of waiting for people to die so that we can harvest, in comes someone who's thinking like, we need to come up with a way to do what you do, which is basically create organs. What's the origin of that?
Yeah, the shortage of organs led to, one of the reasons was shortage of organs. The other reason was the fact that you have lifelong medication. So when we created an organ for a patient, we used the patient's own stem cells to create that organ for them. And so what we do, we'll harvest cells from a patient, then we'll engineer them to stemness. So there's this guy called Shinya Yamanaka. Shout out Shinya Yamanaka. He's a Japanese medical doctor or researcher. He was looking for medication for hepatitis. And along the way with his research, he has a research facility both in Japan and the US. And so his students and, his team, his research team found this factor they call growth factor. They're called Yamanaka factor. So there's 5 factors. And if you introduce these factors to any cell, that cell would differentiate into a stem cell. And so we call this induced pluripotent stem cells. And so we will take these iPSCs, we will then introduce them into a scaffold. So think of a scaffold like a sponge or a mattress that is supposed to hold a matrix of cells together. And so you would seed the cells into this sponge or this scaffold. And eventually then, after introducing other growth factors, the proper food in an incubator with the right amount of oxygen, CO2 levels adjusted, then you will end up with the kind of organ that you're looking for.
So Yamanaka, you said. So for him to stumble upon such information, it means he's doing like funded research, or what?
Yes.
What's the environment for this?
Yeah, so most of these researchers are looking for something. They have a research body that is funded by either the government, NIH. In Canada, we have different bodies that would fund you. So CIHR is one of them. The Gates Foundation would typically not be funding scientific research. They would be funding other things, but not directly scientific research. You see, one of the reasons why recently there was a lot of noise in the scientific community in the US because the government was pulling funding from most of these research institutions, like Harvard and stuff.
What was the justification for that?
For pulling the funding?
Yeah,
I think Trump was saying that they were not, playing ball to they were supporting anti-Semitism of some level, and so he was pulling the funding simply because of that. And at the same time, I think the leadership that is there right now doesn't give a lot of credit to scientific research. You'd see all this noise around the vaccines,
the negative noise around it.
Yeah. And so, them not seeing the effectiveness of vaccines and stuff like that. And so all these things have happened because the government's funded research for years before. And the reason why all these are trickling down to even some of our governments, which don't invest heavily in scientific research, is because some government somewhere decided to do that. I was chatting with you recently and I told you that the Canadian government spent an enormous amount of money on me to become...
Upwards of $1 million, right?
Yes, somewhere thereabout, for me to become who I am today. And you see, the reason why this funding is done is informed by the fact that this guy would find something that would be beneficial to the entire community, or not only the scientific community, but whatever they do can also be used by other scientists in other parts of the globe or in other parts of the country to continue growing. Scientific research.
Let me ask this as a capitalist, perhaps. Maybe because Trump is a self-proclaimed businessman, capitalist. Yeah. So what percentage of this research that's being funded ends up bearing fruit that's useful to humanity?
Honestly, I would say less than 1%.
So in a sense, it's justifiable why the rug would be pulled also. Or
but that 1%,
that 1% is life.
That 1% is the reason why you and I will probably live to be 100 years old.
That's a hard sell. Present that as a case. Present 1% as a case.
Okay. So this guy who had 6 heart transplants, right? So let's say he needed the reason why the heart wasn't working is because of rejection, right? He needed to be on lifelong medication for his well-being, basically, lifelong anti-rejection medication. And so if we were to create an organ for him, a heart for him, for instance, then he would not need to be under lifelong medication anymore and probably would still be alive today. Now, how much money has been put into this sort of research? So we're not at a heart yet. We are still at, my research is on blood vessels, finding the blood vessels so that we can be able to make thick tissue. So we're still at the successful tissues right now are thin, hard, or don't have blood vessels. And so if we are moving to thicker tissues which need blood vessels, then we need to put money into it. Now, even if I were to find something right now, it'll take about 14 years before this research can actually be used in the human body. Now, think about it. There's been tons of people doing what I am doing right now, both in America, in Japan, in China, in Europe, in Canada.
Anywhere in Africa?
In Africa, probably South Africa. I'm not sure.
Okay.
There's a guy I've been corresponding with in South Africa, but
not Central African Republic. Shout out if you're watching from CF, if you have a DVD of this podcast.
Stop throwing shade, man. They still need to, get King Napoleon. Remember the guy who appointed himself King Napoleon and he crowned himself king? Anyways, so then it is that 1% becomes important because it enabled this David Rockefeller nigga to leave for...
So it's an arduous, slow, but super integral endeavor that cannot just be not funded, because with every 1% yielding fruit, it changes humanity in a sense.
Exactly. And it's not only what I am doing. So possibly at some point, I will retire from doing my work without, achieving the goal that I'm trying to achieve. But whatever I've done will be enough for the next guy who's coming into my field to continue building on that.
You've built a foundation.
Exactly.
So how do you balance that and lecturing, professing?
So you have your appointed hours of teaching and your appointed hours of research. So I'm able to balance them out.
This is under the same framework?
No, it's a different institution. So my teaching appointment is in a different institution, and I have so I'm working on my second PhD. So my research is my second PhD.
Say that with your chest, man. Say that again, man. Say that again, man. You're working on your second PhD. This guy is 35 years old, guys, if you're watching, man. 35 years old, working on your second PhD. You do stem cell research. You create organs. Man, continue. Sorry for cutting you short.
And so my teaching is also of my first PhD. And so I've integrated those two to be able to teach and research in the same thing. So different institutions, but the same field.
So what does a day look like for you, Ogato? Typical day. Let's talk about first a busy day. What's a busy day for you?
A busy day will be spent so 90% of my time is spent in the lab.
Take us from the morning. You wake up. What's a day in Canada? A busy day for you. Now job.
Well, I don't know, man. I probably, so this podcasting thing has thrown things off script for me a little bit, and still trying to get in the mojo and the frame of things. But so my typical day would be like, if I'm not shooting on that day, I'll basically wake up in the morning, throw on my black t-shirt and black pants, gone might walk to the lab. So
You'll put, as he's telling the story, you'll put Dexter's lab theme song. Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, so I'll be in the lab. I'll show up in the lab, check emails and stuff like that. Respond to students who've emailed me.
How far is lab from home?
Well, I walk to my lab, so it's a 20-minute walk. It's a 5-minute drive, maybe 3-minute drive, sort of. But most of the time, I don't pay for parking in the lab, and so I don't have parking in the lab, and so therefore I prefer to walk. When I'm going to park, I park in the visitors parking lot, which I gotta pay for, and I don't prefer that. So I used to cycle, and then my bike was stolen. And then I used to scoot, and then I stopped scooting because this guy was zooming past me one day as I'm driving. I almost hit him, and I was like, maybe I would be hit.
You would have needed one of those organs.
I would have been able to get those organs. Anyways, so I'll be in the lab. I'll glove up, and then I will get cells from the incubator, and so we'll passage cells. So passaging cells is when you switch cells that have populated a dish, and you want to give them breathing room. So think about it. When you have cells growing in a dish, they will fill the dish after like 3 days. So you want to bring that number down so that more cells are able to grow. That way you keep them alive, because if they continuously grow in a dish, the dish is limited in space, they will die. So you have to passage them every couple of days, so 2 or 3 days. And get a fresh batch of cell media in there for them to work with.
What's the origin of this cell media?
So cell media is we buy cell media. It contains all the nutrients that are necessary to maintain a cell line.
Okay.
Yeah. So it contains the necessary proteins for the cells to feed on. It contains the necessary medication, I'd call it, for to kill the bacteria that would probably grow on the cell, in your dish. And so this enables you to maintain your cell. So it changes color after a couple of days. If let's say after 3 days, it turns from pink. So I use my cell media is normally pink in color. So it turns from pink to a yellowish, and that's an indicator that you need to change your cell media.
And what's the origin of the cells themselves? Like where the stem cells from?
Okay, so we have patients who give us who we collect the stem cells from. But even before that, the specific type of cells that I work with are called human umbilical vein endothelial cells.
So from embryos?
They're not from embryos, so from umbilical veins. Okay. So you see when babies are born, they will cut the umbilical vein, and so they will harvest the umbilical cord, rather, and then they will harvest the umbilical vein endothelial cells from there. And the reason why we use these cells is because they are easy to manipulate. So you see your body has a myriad of blood vessel types. So you have your, at the very top, you have your arteries and your veins. You come down to your arterioles and your venules, and then you come to your capillaries. And your capillaries will be classified into 3. We have discontinuous capillaries, which have large gaps in between them. These allow large cells to pass through. Then you have, like in your liver so your liver is an example of where you'll have discontinuous capillaries. We also call them, so we also have...
Because of absorption or what?
Yeah, so because you want stuff to be able to pass, so you want the...
Scientists.
You have another type of vessels. So continuous capillaries are the ones which have tight junctions. So these ones only allow stuff like oxygen to be exchanged across the tight junctions. Then you have... what we call fenestrated blood vessels, fenestrated capillaries. These have, I'd say, small gaps, small junctions in between them, and this will be or pores, and this could be in let's say your kidney. And so each of these different blood vessels would need a certain type of environment to maintain them. Now, in order for me to have something that I can manipulate, exposed to harsh environments and stuff like that, I needed a cell line which was friendly enough to be manhandled, if I put it that way. So HUVECs are manhandleable; they can handle. So
what's the ethics around the extraction of these cells from that umbilical cord?
So the umbilical cord is headed for discardment. It's going to be thrown away. And so we can harvest cells from there. And, if it would be interesting for you to know, so you asked for the origin of stem cells. So stem cells can be gotten in two ways, either from embryos from adult humans, or from, the ones that we create, the iPSCs.
So how do you do the adult humans? In what manner?
So they are gotten from your blood, basically from your blood. But the reason why we avoid getting those from adult humans is because they are limited in number. So as you grow older, the number of stem cells that exist in your blood also become fewer.
And I need them.
You need them.
What about, I had this might sound completely crazy, something about wisdom teeth.
Okay.
Is there a story around that?
Wisdom teeth and what? And stem cells?
Yeah.
None that comes to mind at the moment. I mean, I don't have my wisdom teeth, if that would count.
You lost some stem cells. But why? I know the likes of famous superstar sports, especially, have to travel to get stem cell treatment, so to speak. They have to cross borders because the kind of treatment is not approved in certain territories. What's that about?
So
Cristiano is famous for that. LeBron James, all of this allegedly, of course, but. Of course, a lot of these MMA fighters, and Joe Rogan swears by it. So, why is there an ethical conundrum around that? Because of,
when you're in my pod, talk about mad scientists doing, all this sort of mad scientist stuff, and so
let's be kind of fringe scientists, brave scientists. Is it uncomfortable? Is there a cushion? Is there a cushion there?
No, it's comfortable. It's only me. I mean, okay. I keep adjusting because I think I keep slumping on the chair. But I'm all good.
Okay.
So we have guys who have gone out to the world to tell the world that, you know what, you could buy a kit of stem cells and inject yourself with these stem cells. And so you would find that those are kind of misadvised scientists who I would tend to avoid, following if I was a sane human. And now, when it comes to stem cell treatment, it is reserved for severe cases in the US, especially
because of availability.
Yes, and because of the time and effort that would go behind making it possible.
But I'm rich.
You don't want to be taking all these resources and just to enhance a sportsman's performance.
But I'm a Cristiano, I can buy it. I'm rich.
Well, since they can do it in those other countries, they could go and do it there. Because think about it. There's so one of the diseases that we're trying to find a solution to is called acute myeloid leukemia. So your leukemia is a type of blood cancer whereby your bone marrow, which is where your blood is essentially made, has some sort of problem. And so you've heard of a bone marrow transplant. So basically, a bone marrow transplant is a stem cell transplant. So
we're basically taking away from the bone marrow transplant patient so Cristiano can jump higher.
Exactly.
So that's the ethics.
I think it would be ethically wrong for us to kill this guy so that this other guy could jump higher.
But in a capitalistic world, are you a believer of capitalism?
I am a capitalist. I'm a businessman too. I mean,
so think about what Cristiano is able to generate for the system that he works for, vis-a-vis Bob, who has bone marrow issues. I know I'm just presenting it's just a fact of the matter. So there's a case to be made in a capitalistic world for let Cristiano keep jumping higher.
True, I agree with you, but I think that what then happens is you have this runaway sort of environment whereby you have all these clinics that now are all doing stem cell transplants for sports people or anybody for that matter.
Good business.
It could be good business, but I also think that you're taking away from the fact that we want to save lives. So if you can save lives and do this, I have no problem with it. But if you are taking away from saving lives in order to enhance your capitalist environment, then I think there's a problem with that.
Those are philosophical issues because capitalism seems, at least in the timeline we're living in, seems to reign supreme. But I want to mesh two things because at least now we've given the audience an introduction into the brilliance of who you are. But also on the flip side, Ogato is a brilliant scientist. He does many things, podcaster. When we had dinner that day, you told me you pick up things. So like you started playing the guitar. You saw the guitar, you got interested, you picked it up. You've had concerts for like your family and friends. But also, in tandem with being a scientist, you're an Adventist. you're an SDA.
Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, SDAs get a funny rep in Kenya. In fact, yesterday I was flying with a captain and she sent me a meme of what happens when you date an SDA and then to a guy singing. I'll try to see if I can send my producer. It's a guy singing on a WhatsApp voice note too.
Wacha nikuimbie wimbo wa mapenzi Sonia, mimi kijana barobaro, ningependa kukuimbia wimbo wacha nikuimbie wimbo wa
WhatsApp voice note too.
His girlfriend.
in a tenure. So how do you marry those two worlds? Because science is empirical, right? Faith is faith based. How do you mesh those two worlds in your life?
I will be honest with you, Eric. Growing up, I had nothing to refer to. There was nothing for me to refer to. I mean, I grew up a Christian Adventist, and all that I had reference to was the Bible. And you see, the Bible had nothing else to refer to. But as I've grown older, I've also realized that the way that the gospel is introduced to anybody, the way that the gospel was introduced to me, was introduced to me in a way that whatever was available to those people is who were there then, case by my grandfather, is what they shared with me. But I think that the Bible also says that people perish for the lack of knowledge. And so I am glad to call myself now a Christian scientist because I'm able to marry the two in this sense. My scientific world I look for evidence of my Christianity in the scientific world. And if nothing makes sense from the scientific point of view, then I just ignore it.
Can you give us like two cases of where it made sense and one like where it didn't?
Okay. So science is Christianity is based off of faith, right? You simply believe. So one case where I think it hasn't made sense for me, and I think I'm going to get a lot of backlash for this, is the age of the Earth, right? And so it's in a case where it didn't make sense and where it made sense. So it's both in the case of the age of the Earth. So I was taught that the age of the Earth is about 6,000 years old, give or take a couple of years, growing up. But when I look at the scientific evidence out there, there's no way that this world could be 6,000 years old.
What does the science say?
The science says that the Earth is about 14 billion years old, or give or take.
That's a big difference.
It's a very big difference.
How many zeros? 6,000? 14 billion?
How many zeros are those?
Literally worlds apart, yeah?
Worlds apart, yes. But then again, the Earth is continuously expanding. So the reason why you and I, or the scientists, say that the Earth is 14 billion years old is because when you calculate the distance of, where the light has reached right now, it is 14 billion years away. But you also say that the universe is continuously expanding. Why is the universe continuously expanding? Because as time goes by, then light travels farther and farther away.
Almost infinitely.
Exactly. And so the universe becomes infinite, right? And so the Bible also says that in the beginning, so the Genesis 1 verse 1, in the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth, and the earth was without form and void, and the Spirit of God ruled over the face of the waters. But when you think about it, really, the earth had already been, the world was already existing, or the universe was already existing by the time Genesis 1 comes into play, right?
So do you think the earth predates time?
The earth predates time?
Or like it's always been there?
Well, it must have a beginning at some point, and so that beginning is not explained in the Bible. And so where the problem becomes is when, as Christians, we try to explain the Bible using the Bible in itself. And
I sorry to cut you. I famously tell this to a lot of my friends, and they always say the Bible says, and I'm like, let's talk as if I don't believe in the Bible, or let's have the conversation around, because a huge chunk of the world's population doesn't necessarily believe in the Bible. So you cannot refer to the Bible all the time. The same way if you're talking to a Hindu and he refers to the
Gita.
To me that's irrelevant. So that's where I feel like a lot of Christians find themselves in an echo chamber. When you keep referring back to something without necessarily exploring whether it's true or not.
I believe that the Bible was simply written to explain the story of my salvation and your salvation, because I believe you're a Christian. Right? If the moment you go beyond that and try to explain other things, then it becomes something else. You're introducing your own ideas into into the Bible, your own preconceived ideas into the Bible.
But right from the beginning, and I say the thing that gets us is the indoctrination. You talked about you being born into a culture and a religion that you found the people who brought into this world already believing in. And I feel that's the strongest version of indoctrination, because when we're growing up, bro, who else other than people older than us?
I don't think it's a bad thing, though, to be indoctrinated that way, because you need some sort of grounding.
I mean, we learn a lot of great values from our parents. We learn a lot of, but also as you get older, you look at some of the flaws in some of their outlooks on life generally, not just in terms of religious belief, but even different philosophies around life. Yeah. But right from the beginning of the Bible, we're talking about 14 billion years versus 6,000 years.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about Genesis, for example, the Garden of Eden. Is that literal, or is that an allegory of sorts? What do you think?
It is possible it could be an allegory, but I choose to take the creation story literally. That, the creation happened. God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. I choose to take it that way.
Why do you choose to take it that way?
Because it's the simplest form of, belief that I would then have, to believe in. Exactly.
It's like a calpol of sorts.
I take it and, I'm healed and I'm okay. I'm better. And the reason why I choose to take it that way is because whether I believed in it being an allegory of sorts, or whether I believe in it being literal, I don't think would be neither here nor there for my journey as a Christian. Because like I said, the Bible was written to point my story of salvation. And so the creation story basically points out to that. The problem comes whereby you start saying that, creation happened 6,000 years ago, and yet the Bible doesn't explicitly mention that anywhere. I mean, of course, you could take the age of Adam and, try to calculate that the age of Adam about 900 years old, and, try to calculate by the time the flood comes, and then they say it's about 2,000 years. And then from the flood to Jesus Christ's time is 2,000 years. But before Adam's fall, I think that there's no reason for me to count time before Adam sins. And so if this time between creation and Adam sinning could be easily 1,000,000 years old.
But what's the origin of the drama? Because God created it all, right? Why did he create a dramatic guy called the devil? Like, why? What's the why? And then,
do you know how the devil comes about?
I think he was a cherub.
Yeah, he was an angel.
He was an angel, and one of the
his name was Lucifer.
Yeah, angel of light. He was a music guy, light guy. He had quite
You're a music guy, so you could have been a Lucifer, influenced by Lucifer.
How do you know I'm not, bro? How do you know I'm not here representing Satan? No. But on a serious note, the story is told that he was a high-ranking cherub, beautiful. In fact, I think I read a book somewhere, not a Bible, but someone described him as God created him as the most superior creation, like the closest thing to him, but not him.
Yeah.
But then you created the potential drama then. If you're the guy who created this guy like this, and then where did jealousy come from? Where did this guy even start feeling like, I want God's rank? Aren't those tenets that were put in him by God himself? So it's God just created drama to watch drama, and then now save us from the same drama, send his son. Like,
I will be honest with you, Eric. If you are a Christian and you've never struggled with this, then you probably, I call myself a level 15 Christian. In this case. So there's level 1, there's level 10, which is, the highest. So I've been at level 10, but then I've gone beyond level 10 and I'm now at level 15. And this is how I explain it. Sometimes I struggle with my faith. I struggle with my belief. I struggle with, all this. Am I believing in nothing? And so if you haven't gotten to that yet, I think you need to go and seek more.
But most people are at the culpable stage of, I go to church on Sunday, I'm told, work hard, God loves you, repent your sins. And it has empirical value because they'll have the courage, they'll feel encouraged to go about their week and the rigors of life, work, raising a family, whatever it may be. So that system also has empirical good and
yes, there is
net good rather. But why not the God idea without the religion? Because I always say, for example, this jar that you're drinking this Coca-Cola from.
Yeah.
It has an origin. It was created for it to exist. So the splendid world we live in, I have the privilege of flying, get to see some crazy views. And I just look around, I'm like, this cannot just have happened. But if you look, there must have been an origin story. So why not the God idea and the understanding that we don't know what created this, but for sure there's a creator? Why isn't that a more sensible route to go? As opposed to...
Well, it could be, but I think the reason why religion becomes important is because you need some sort of order. So
for the people ruling the world, or order for you as an individual?
Order for you as an individual, because the only problem that happens with religion is when religious leaders bring their own rules. So the problem is religion has rules, and those rules are what destroy then your journey in faith, or your journey in believing in your journey in Christianity. I was hanging out with Mwaf a couple of days ago, and I told him that there are cults, then there's religions. So in a cult, the founder is alive. In a religion, the founder is dead.
Well, the difference, there's no big difference. So the origin of religion is started off as a cult.
Exactly, but when you look at it that way, when you look at it that way, you end at it started as a cult, then it becomes something bad.
The difference I'd say is Eotwe is a cult, for example.
Okay.
Mr. Beast is religion. So religion just has more subscribers. That's the main difference.
I mean, there's religions that have few subscribers.
Let's talk about. I'm talking about like the mainstream religion. The reason why the group think is so, that inertia of the group think is so strong, because there are 3 billion people in this echo chamber.
Yeah,
it's very hard to think outside that.
Yes,
and be the one guy who's like, excuse me.
You'll be ostracized, and I think you lose relevance. Think about Galileo starting to say that the earth is.
Imagine that guy in cell just. This guy's locked me up, man. Imagine the kind of peril people go through for daring to think outside. Because, bro, religion, and I don't know, I've not studied other religions intricately. I know a bit about them here and there, but Christianity is where I see so much flaws. Like, you have to put your reasoning aside as a scientist, as a pilot, as people who have somewhat of some level of intelligence, to believe there was a talking snake and a woman, and how do you know you are naked? I've
gotten some backlash for that, because I was asked in a certain podcast, you actually do believe that there was a talking snake?
Do you?
Do I believe there was a talking snake? Well, it's written in the Bible, so I choose to believe that there was.
But you see,
here's what I say. So you remember we started off in the beginning by saying that the Bible is written as a story for my salvation. But you see, whether I believe that there was a talking snake or not is neither here nor there. I don't think it matters for my salvation.
So why not just then? Why didn't the Bible just have the Jesus story then, minus the talking snake?
Well, that's a good question. So a bunch of folks met somewhere in the around the year 12, and put all these books together. I think there was more than these books, where they just said to put these books together. Whether they were inspired or not, I can't speak to that. But whether I believe that there was a talking snake or not is neither here nor there. It is possible that there was story. So let's take the highway that the talking snake was there. So what is the possibility of what happens to this talking snake vis-a-vis of what is written in the Bible? So when you start thinking about when God created the earth, for instance, we learn about Adam and Eve and their children. So Cain, Abel, and Seth. But then a few verses down, you realize that there was other folks.
Who are these folk, bro?
Exactly. So they're not written in the Bible. And that is why I say some knowledge is not necessary for you to grow in your Christian faith, right?
No, it's not necessary, because if you question, there's no answer.
Yeah, and if you really want to know the answer, at some point the answer will come to you, whether that's in heaven or when you meet Jesus or somewhere, the answer will come. But so in my case, I choose to believe that Adam and Eve are not the only folks who are created. It is possible that more folks are created than Adam and Eve.
I find it so interesting that a man of your intelligence is, and I know you're very anti-conspiracy. You're more mainstream story, right? But you're willing to believe the biggest one. The biggest conspiracy ever told. That's the one you believe.
That's the one I choose to believe. You know why?
Why?
Because I'm happy believing it.
Okay.
I'm comfortable believing
it.
And
that's a good reason enough. I always say, if religion offers you that ability to go about your life in a fulfilling way, and that fulfilling feeling gives you, again, a net positive about how you go about your life, then so be it. I think that's a fair way to live your life. But as to the actual trueness of what the religion espouses, for me, I feel like the jury is still out. And I feel like in the next few 100 years, if we live that long, I think we'll be looked at as some funny guys who believe some very funny things.
Even in the scientific community in itself, I would be, you see the way we call those folks mad scientists, or you would call them fringe scientists. So I would be one of those guys on the fringes, simply because I do believe in some way, shape, or form that there's a God who exists, who created the earth. But one of the reasons why I became a scientist, or one of the reasons why I am on a journey to become this sort of scientist, is to find these sort of answers that religion would not give me an answer to, and the scientific community doesn't seem to want to bother answering. Case in point, the age of the earth. I would want to understand that by collaborating with other scientists who, for example, astrophysicists would work on matters to do with the universe and how old the universe is and stuff like that. And so finding those answers, I think, would be helpful in informing the next generation of Christians to understand their faith or their journey better.
Think of how you talked about 14 years to get some of these trials to a point where they are usable, right?
Yeah.
And you're literally making organs that are used to help people sustain life, right? Mm-hmm. But the Bible talks about healing, for example. Mm-hmm. You know how arduous it is to get to a point where you can actually extend life literally. Mm-hmm. How do you reconcile that?
Well, because God is the creator of life, He's the giver of life, He can heal. What I don't believe is when a man who's very flawed walks up to me and tells me, you know what, I'm going to put my hands on your head and you'll be healed. I have a problem believing in that.
But Peter and them did it.
Yeah, the Bible says that they did it.
Those were men, no?
Yes, they were human.
So do you think they did it?
It is possible that they did it because the Bible says that they were working with. I'm using this word specifically because it is the Bible that says that. Whether I believe that they did it or not, I don't think really matters, because the Bible says that they did it. Then I would choose to take it as face value that they did it. But even if they did not do it, it really doesn't matter. So
what I'm hearing is, of course, and it tends to be the case because it's very hard to create a mental model outside religion because of that indoctrination.
Yeah.
You said you're level 15. Mm-hmm. So level 1 is absolute faith?
No, level 1 is no faith.
Oh, no faith.
Yes.
Okay.
Level 10 is I am very faithful.
Where is questioning?
Beyond level 10.
Okay. So I feel, I in my own journey, I feel like I always circle back to faith. Mm-hmm. Because trying to create a mental model again outside, it's like, it's difficult.
Exactly.
Because you grow up in a world of Christianity, Islam, Hinduism, yeah. And it's so funny how different they all are, and how everyone is so resolute in theirs. I saw the other day one of the world's richest men, Ambani, at some site,
in India somewhere.
In India, man, with a statue, size of whatever, God knows what.
Yeah.
With his 264 billion net worth. For him is resolute, which is completely different from Jesus, which is completely different from Moha, which is completely different from all these other belief systems. So I find it so interesting that the human condition, where everyone is believing so resolutely, so differently, and no one is taking a moment to just be like, hey guys, wait. It can't be that you guys are right and we are wrong, and like everyone hold up like this.
What would Darth Vader say?
I am your father. But also, let's talk about that's just food for thought for the audience. Just think about it. Sometimes just dare to question, and you notice when you start questioning, go to your Bible study and question. I have a friend right now one of my closest friends, shout out Mike, he's part of a BSF, one of the mainstream churches here in Nairobi, and he said he's
BSF.
Bible study and fellowship. He said he's tired of doing this generic, we meet on Wednesday and we read a verse, and then all of us go around the room giving our false interpretation of this verse. What Jesus was trying to say here, what he was actually meaning here. And then you go and, it speaks to me. It's just a verbiage, people. It's like a circle jack of sorts.
Yeah.
And he wants to present a case. He's going there with questions tough questions. And he's going to pull a rabbit out of the hat at his next BSF and be like, guys, what are we doing here? We're bullshitting each other. And let's try explore these specific questions, and I think that's the route people should be taking, especially in 2025.
I think so too.
When it's coming out that, do you think the people, or rather, I know you don't like that terminology, do you think the leadership of countries, continents, worlds lie to the people?
I think they do lie to the people.
Do you think they've been lying to us time immemorial?
It is possible.
Do you think religion was one of the biggest tools for lying to us?
I think so. And, when you think about how religion went to North America from Europe, I saw this picture of this book called The Inconvenient Indian. It's written by an Indian guy. Thomas King is his name.
Indian or Native American?
Native American.
Okay.
So the title is Inconvenient Indian because the Indian was so inconvenient to be anywhere. So it was pushed to the fringes of society, live in the reserves and stuff like that. They don't want them anywhere because they're very inconvenient. And one of the things that they did is when they came with religion, right? And so at the very top, they had a cross, but that cross turns to be a sword. So they have a picture of Christopher Columbus carrying some religious leaders, and they have a cross at the top, but that cross is a sword at the bottom. And so religion was used to pacify, or Christianity was used to pacify the masses for capitalism to come and take over.
And espouse forgiveness.
Exactly. And one of the saddest stories that I had once being spoken about in my church, this lady was talking about how there was this dispensary that was being put up by Christians in the on the banks of I forget the name of the river. It's a Canadian river named after Jack Cartier. So the Jack Cartier River. James Carr, I think, is what the name translates to. So Jack Cartier River, they had a dispensary being put up by Christians, and then some natives come and fight the guys who are putting up the dispensary. And then the guys in the dispensary fight off the Indians and kill them all. And so the lady was telling the story, we told it in this way. God helped the Christians fight off all the Indians who were coming to kill the guys who are building the hospital. But when you think about it, really, you folks came into the territory of these Indians and you were chasing them away. So they have the right to defend themselves. And so when you say that God is here defending you to put up your hospital, then I think that is a problem.
So it's a one-sided narrative.
Exactly.
Whatever fits the narrative. But you're an Adventist. What do Adventists believe that's different from conventional Christians?
At the end of the day, when you really think about it, we do believe in the same God. The only difference is how we carry out our practices. So, for instance, we do worship on the seventh day on Saturday.
That's Saturday.
Yeah. So from Friday sunset to Saturday sunset, we don't do anything. And so for me, I take that literally.
From Friday
sunset
to Saturday
sunset.
Sabbath. You observe Sabbath.
Yeah, we have
Shabbat.
Sabbath. Yeah, Shabbat in Hebrew.
So what does not do anything mean?
We just
to my wife tonight, there's not going to be any pleasure. You don't make love to your wife on Fridays?
Of course, man, I do. It's Friday night, Saturday during the day, even.
So you can make love to your wife.
I can make love to my wife.
So what can't you do?
So I can't work. So I don't go to the lab to do any research. I don't.
So she rides you.
I mean, I don't do podcasting business. So anything that is out of the purview of my Christian practices doesn't happen on the Sabbath day.
So what's the principle around that? Is it?
Yeah, it's biblical. So the fourth commandment of the Bible says, 6 days you shall work, and the seventh day you should observe it as a rest day.
But Jesus came out with the remix. Mm-hmm. He came and said, but if the donkey is drowning in the well,
exactly, you can help. You can help out. So if my wife is feeling some type of, I can help out.
If she's feeling that itch, I can scratch that itch.
Exactly. And so, I mean, you could go out of your way to help. I think the problem is when you take that literally and you just say, I'm going to sit at home, do nothing. I see things going haywire and I'm not going to go out and help. So one of the things
that's one. Okay. Mm-hmm. Observing Shabbat. What else?
So there
and don't take offense if I make jest about
No, of course, man. It's all good. I can't take offense because I also make jest of it.
You guys go to church the whole day, bro.
Man, it's so refreshing. So in North America, though, it doesn't happen that way. So you would go to church all day in Africa.
What's that about, bro?
It's a community. So you realize that at some point you get to a point and realize that hanging out in church is like the way someone go hang out in a club the whole night. So basically the same thing.
Together boogieing to Christ.
Exactly.
So I used to live in a place. Actually, I used to live right next to
an Adventist church.
Yes, and they had
I think that's brutal.
They had a cafeteria. So one day, man, there's no meat.
Yeah.
So I'm not beef rights.
Is that near 5th Ngongamido by any chance?
Milimani Road.
Yeah.
Right opposite Integrity Center.
Yes.
So I go there to the cafe and I'm trying to order, bro, the some lentils and chapo. I'm like, yeah, man, come on, man. This ain't neat, man. But the whole day, bro.
Yeah.
And then I used to have a friend when I used to still drink and chew mira. I remember he was an Adventist, and so Monday to Friday we're just fucking around, just doing the most debauchery kind of behavior.
Yeah.
But on Saturday,
he's in the church pulpit holding his Bible and singing.
He'd have his Bible, he'd even have his sweater, like tie.
Tie.
Saturday best, Saturday best. And then evenings is Jabba bass. Got Jabba bass.
What you get to realize actually is very many people I think are lost in the way that they don't try to reconcile their faith with with themselves. So I think there's a case to be made for people to just be themselves. Just be yourself. Many Christians do pretend.
Most.
I think all of them do pretend actually. And the worst pretenders I think are even the leaders of those churches themselves. One of the things that comes out is especially when it comes to elective positions in churches. I was looking at, do you know how much money, man, that these Christian leaders have access to when they're in those leadership positions? So think about the Catholic Church at the very helm. They control billions of dollars across the globe. Think the Adventist church is a very global church, so they also control billions. But
the Latter-day Saints.
Come down to the Latter-day Saints. They put up a structure somewhere on
some nice structure
because they have access to billions, man. And
whose billions are these?
They belong to the church because people took them voluntarily. They took people took the money to the church.
That's what I'm saying. These guys literally, there is no other enterprise. You teach, sweat equity. You prepare for your lessons.
Yeah.
You earn your money. You do science research. I fly planes, arduous, bro. Yesterday I did 6th sector.
Yeah.
By the 6th sector, guy, I was beat.
Well, credit to the preachers also. They prepare for those lectures.
You guy.
For those sermons, rather.
But you get, it's free money. Tax-free money.
Well, would you rather be?
Why would the powers that be allow an enterprise to just be tax-free? They understand the importance of keeping the masses dumbed down. They understand, like, hey, don't even tax those niggas, man. Come on, man. They play such an integral role in keeping the placating the masses. I mean, you have verses like, it's easier for a camel to enter the eye of a needle than a rich man. You think that's a poor man's scalpel? Like, these guys are balling, but
I'll go to heaven.
Yeah, I'm going to heaven. Like, it's so convenient. And what are the practices that are because you guys believe 144K guys are going to heaven?
So thank you for bringing that up. So that is a passage that is written in the book of Revelation, that and the 144,000 will be those who haven't done these sort of things, and they'll go to heaven. But we don't necessarily believe that 144,000 people will go to heaven, man. When you think about it, there have been more than 144,000 people who have been clean since the origin of that. So it is 144,000
clean.
Those who are
we define clean.
Clean meaning that they haven't indulged with the.
They didn't jack off. The guy didn't jack off.
Yeah, bro.
Till 55 years.
Do you think that in the year 500 BC, folks were jacking off?
Absolutely.
Folks are there.
Did someone teach you how to jack off?
No, nobody taught me how to.
So. Case in point, so in fact, the guy had more time to figure it out, bro.
Yeah.
Just chilling in the field, watching his animals. He's like, hey, that feels kind of good. Hey. Let me try that again.
I think I saw a video of a gorilla or something like that.
You guys, if a gorilla can figure it out, bro. 500 BC guys were they were jacking off probably way more. They had more time. They didn't have jobs. They didn't do science. They didn't fly planes. Just chilling in the field, watching your cattle, walking around. Yeah, probably significantly more. But I want you, because I was flying with a captain recently. You know him, and he was explaining to me the philosophy in Adventists, what Adventists believe. So apparently, you guys believe that this universe is a series. I'm using the term series loosely. I'm just trying to create a picture that other worlds are watching to glorify God's love, something like that.
So there's
so there's other universes that are not fallen, in a fallen state.
Yes.
But they're just living bliss, just walking on air. Guys,
I can't speak to how they are behaving in those universes, but it would be preposterous in this time and age to believe that the earth is the only place where life exists.
I don't think so. Just based on the data, I told you about this on your pod. It started off with like, oh, there's a Goldilocks zone with about 400 planets that just may contain life, and then it's 400 billion. The more they discover that there's potentially 400 billion other planets, with of course the supporting structures that support carbon-based life. Distance from their star, etc.
Yeah.
So there's potentially other civilizations out there, but you guys believe that
more than this earth was created, yes.
And these other civilizations are specifically watching the earth.
Well, when you put it like that, it becomes something different.
Okay.
That they're sitting there watching the earth. I mean, they got their own life too.
They have jobs. They come and put on earth as a series.
Yeah. So
previously on earth.
You see within any religion, like I said, there's 15 levels of Christianity. And at any point, different people will believe different things. So there's folks who would believe that I will come from the school of thought that there's this other world that were created, they're perfect, they are not sinful as we are here on earth. So they're living their life, and over here we're living our life.
Do you think it's fun there?
Is it fun? Probably.
The way sin is, most sin is amazing, bro.
Yeah.
So do you think they're having fun there?
I think something becomes fun to you when you know it. So let's imagine that you didn't know that it existed. Then it probably wouldn't be fun to you because you have no idea what you're missing out on, right? So I think they are happy where they are.
Just a blissful state.
I think so.
Okay.
But also the other way that I think about it, man, is I think about when I wake up in the morning, man. If I was waking up in the morning, sliding into my shoes, just walking around, food fits stuff into my mouth, I don't think I like that kind of life. Like where everything is just bliss. I think the discomfort in life.
Think about a carrot versus a chipo. One is good for you, one isn't. Which one is better, bro?
Well, when you
most things we enjoy are not good for us, including sin. That's just a fact.
Yes.
So I can imagine a world where I just woke up, had my grapes. Guys are just worshiping. I mean, and I'm not making light of the whole thing. Please don't take offense. If you're too offended, just unsubscribe and salute. But yeah, it's a hard sell.
But I think it's important to be open-minded because the religion that you follow was introduced to you by someone.
So if I was Hindu, I could have been a Hindu.
Most probably. If I was born Muslim right now, probably I'll be here with my kanzu and my beads, counting them.
Tongaren, Jesus of Tongaren. The moment there was a time they were asking, bro, this guy was also crucified. He's like, hey,
I'm not ready yet.
He actually went to the police and he's like, you guys, my guys are trying to crucify.
Wanataka kunyanga kwa msalaba. But what do you think happens to someone's mind for them to decide, you know what, I'm God's son. I am the Jesus in the Bible. You don't think it's some level of mental illness?
I think I can walk on water. Yo, but maybe, and please God, don't strike me down if you are there. Even the original guy.
Jesus himself?
Yeah. His philosophy was futuristic. Almost stories are Jabba. Almost hippie-ish. In a time where women didn't have any standing in society, he wanted to espouse equal equity and equality, and his things were very radical, man. Come on, man, let's have peace and harmony, man. Come on, guys, what's all this fighting, man? Like, he was way ahead of his time, and if you think about him, let's say if he was a man, philosophically, he was someone who was, and we have such people even in today's world. I mean, people who can just transcend the current state of society and see why and how we can do this thing better. And such people are very easy to get people to rally behind. So Tonga and Jesus, maybe if you sat down with him, he's probably a brilliant guy in his context, in his enclave of society, right?
Yeah.
Or rather enclave. If you think about Prophet Owor is a brilliant guy in terms of IQ.
Would you sit with him on the pod?
I'd love to.
Tell him apart?
Huh?
Tell him apart?
No, I would give him an objective, because bro, there's genius there. Well, however you want to splice it and dice it, bro. To convince guys to wash roads when you come to a city, I'm starting to get guys to subscribe. This guy has convinced guys to wash roads. This guy has convinced guys to sell off their shit and give him the money.
But you see, they say that religion is the opium of the masses.
Yeah. So
I think it's because there's things we don't have access to that we believe that God will give us. Case in point, peace, wealth, money, etc. And so because the government, which is supposed to do this thing, doesn't do it. The government is supposed to give us good roads, doesn't give us good roads, doesn't give us, clear opportunities for jobs, doesn't create hospitals for us to be healed. A guy would come and tell us, you know what, you believe in Jesus and all these things will be okay. And I say this because I see a lot of folks when they move to these Western countries where these things are provided for. When they were Christian here, when they get to those Western countries, they stop being Christian anymore. But
that's an amazing point you raised. But why is that? There's a direct correlation between poverty and areas of belief. Because people have realized that there's money to be made in the unknown. So I think a guy like Prophet Owor, because he's a scientist, he's a scientist.
Yeah, way brilliant than me.
Yeah, I don't know about that because you're brilliant. I don't know his level of brilliance.
I think it's way
in the science realm.
I think he
understands. He understands the power of this idea that people don't know but want to know. So as a scientist, he's probably reconciled that he doesn't know and no one knows. But it's like, wait a minute. If I claim to know, I can convince this whole number of people and make money.
It is possible that he believes what he says,
He doesn't. He absolutely doesn't. The times he was, this 15 years ago, I remember when God is going to shake Kenya with its earthquakes. Bro, people who have access to meteorological department can tell you there's an earthquake coming. It's not it's not some deep
what if, case to be made here, what if he actually believes in what he says because of, some sort of mental...
I would bet everything I have that he doesn't. He's a businessman. He's a capitalist. And he works hard, and that's another tenet I have to give out to these pastors and prophets, and they are hardworking people. Pastor Nganga works his ass off.
Yeah,
Lovi works his ass off. Prophet Owor works his ass off, but they have understood the human condition. The human condition's most vulnerable point is trying to understand who we are and where we came from. That yearning to understand what is really going on around us.
Yes,
and the most mature state of affairs for a human, I feel, is to reconcile that you don't know and you may never know. All we can do is look back at history and try to see what happened here, what happened there. And with time, of course, more will come out. We'll know more as time develops, but maybe not in my lifetime. Yeah. But then now, here comes someone who decides, wait a minute, but I can come up with a story that...
convince you.
Yeah.
This way.
How is that any different from Moha or Jesus or religion? Because... even the Bible you read, okay, you're SDA, so maybe it's different, but...
the Bible, I think we read the same Bible. It's not
the LeBron James, the King James Bible, right? King James literally remix. He called guys like, hey, screw. Hey, I need some guys. Hey, guys, I'm trying to divorce my wife. Amongst other things, guys, Abu remix these books in a way that makes sense, that I look like an okay guy.
Yeah.
And it's the Bible we still use today, and no one questions the fact that is already... strange.
Yeah, and you see, that is why. So folks are afraid to question.
Wait, and me, the one that also takes me further is the story of Jesus predates him. Not the idea of gonna send my son, he's gonna come, save the world, resurrection. This story permeates
before Jesus was born.
Thousands of years before him in different cultures, Mesopotamia, different Egypt. And all it was people looking up and trying to understand what the fuck is going on, and them now using the sun. It was sun worship. There's so many things attached, and astrology, and how do you explain that then? How do you explain the fact that in so many different cultures before Jesus, the story pre-existed, including the story of Cain and Abel, and it was all astrology?
Yeah, and you see, I think that's the sad thing with the way knowledge was passed down generations back then. Knowledge was passed down by word of mouth, right, from person to person. But so sun worship originates from a guy called Nimrod. Nimrod was the grandson of Noah, if I'm not wrong. So Nimrod had a wife called Semiramis, and at some point Nimrod dies. So when Nimrod dies, Semiramis says that my husband has died and he's going to live in the sun. And so during the day you would worship him upstairs, and at night when he goes to sleep to protect you from the demons that are fighting you from underneath the earth. And then they at some point Semiramis becomes pregnant, and he says that I become pregnant with my husband, the sun. And she gives birth to a son, calls him Tammuz. And Tammuz goes fighting, I think, and gives birth. He is killed by a wild boar in the forest, and so they commemorate Tammuz's birth, I think, around the similar time with Easter, and that's why we have Easter eggs and bunnies and stuff. So
how do you reconcile that then? Knowing this, because look how vast you are in the knowledge, but how do you then reconcile the fact that the Bible just remixed it with better words?
Remixed what?
The same themes, the same thematically.
Yeah, and so that is why I say that you gotta have a very good understanding of what the Bible is and what it's not. Like I said, the Bible is written as a story of you and my salvation. Story
being factual, or story being a depiction so that I can bring you the real story?
The book of John 3 verse 16, everybody knows that verse. If you can put it up on the screen.
For God so loved the world, is that it?
And continue.
That he gave his only begotten son.
That whosoever believes in him will perish and
will not perish, but will have
everlasting life. As simple as that. I think that is the most important part of the Bible. And that's the only part of the Bible that I think everybody should ascribe to. The rest of you see, the gospel is very simple.
Why didn't God just, and I think for people who didn't watch our episode on your platform, but why send your son, your God, just do this?
Yeah.
And everybody is saved.
Well, my religious teachers
why does Satan have so much?
My religious teachers say that the reason why God didn't just do this is because he's a fair God. He wants the devil to be judged at the end of time. I also don't understand these things.
Yeah, Satan and God are. Where is this that they are? Where they're having wages?
I also ask myself all the time.
Job.
In the book of Job.
Yeah, Job. The Job one was God. Was it Jacob? Job.
Job. Yeah, the one who Satan shows up in his gathering, and it's like, what's going on here?
I saw some guy, and it's a fair point. Satan and God are just chilling. And Satan can just walk to God. I'm like, hey, what's up, guy?
Very interesting.
This guy of yours. That makes sense to you?
You see, when we start breaking this apart, honestly, it will not make sense. And if you are a true Christian...
You have a daughter, right?
Yeah.
She's how old?
She's 2 years old.
Are you a loving father?
Of course, man.
Would you throw her in the microwave?
Never. If anybody tries to... If I was God...
Is there anything she can do that would make you throw her in the fire?
Nothing.
And you're just a mere mortal, aren't you?
Of course, man.
So God, who put some of the sinful nature in us, will throw us in the fiery pits of hell.
Well, that's what the folks who have taught us say. But I don't think God would throw me anywhere.
But he says,
he says that so long as you believe in my son, you're on a clean slate.
So what about a guy I use one of my best friends. She's a Danish chick. Amazing, sweet soul, amazing mother now. She's a beautiful soul. Does right by everyone in most cases, but doesn't believe. She's an atheist. So she goes to hell?
I don't think she goes to hell. You will be judged according to the knowledge that you have.
No, but she has knowledge of. She knows religion exists. She's from Denmark, bro. She's.
I hope that she doesn't make it to hell.
But that makes sense to you? Just the analogy I gave you of your daughter.
Man, honestly, it doesn't, man. It doesn't. And that's why I say that I think it is possible that God will just save us all.
Now, let's move away from the God conversation because we can.
It is possible. He has to, man.
Please.
But how do you call yourself my father and yet you can't just save me? That doesn't make sense to me at all. And so that's what me. I believe, man.
And
whatever I do, I'm on God's side.
And you're living pretty good, and you still have those questions. Imagine the people who are having a tough time. Imagine the guys who are having a tough time and trying to believe and make sense of it.
It's hard at that point, man. It's hard for you to question.
But it is harder for a camera. But let's move away from God now. Let's talk about Canada, man. Mm-hmm. How do you find yourself in Canada?
I went to Canada. I went to school. Yeah, so I used to run a film business. And at some point I was like, let me explore what life has to offer, aside from being a filmmaker in Kenya. And so I decided to go to school for a master's in industrial engineering. So my undergrad was in mechatronics. And so I wanted... What?
Your story is very interesting. You went to film school.
I didn't go to film school.
You said you went to...
I was running a film business.
Oh, film business, sorry.
Yeah. I've always been a film guy. I mean, since I graduated high school, I've always been fascinated with cameras and, what they can make. And so I explored that immediately after high school. Even when I was in uni, I was doing that. And so I decided to go to school, try it out and see what, school has to offer. So I enrolled in school, and somehow along the way I got a job. So I resigned I stopped going to school, and the job gave me the hours to get my paper. So Canada has this pathway whereby once you have worked a certain number of hours, you can apply for permanent residency. So I applied for permanent residency.
What's the number of hours?
I think it's 2,000 work hours. Right now it should be about 2,000 work hours. I'm not sure what it is anymore. So once I got my PR, I decided to, and I was working in the hospital, I explored, what does life have anything else to offer? I feel like I'm always on the move. I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday. I think I'm on my 15th career now. I've done, many other things before. And I felt like I wasn't satisfied working in the hospital. I was working as a medical engineer in the hospitals. And I felt like I wasn't satisfied because I had these students who used to come in to school, to the hospital. I would, give them tours of the hospital and stuff like that. And I would be invited to give guest lectures in the schools. And I was very keen on, what would I do to teach? So that's where I tried applying. They couldn't take me. So I did a quick master's and then got the PhD I was talking about. My first PhD was in instructional design, basically teaching. My research was on teaching older medical technicians in hospitals how to adapt to new equipment. And so that was what my research was on for my first PhD. And so I used that to get employed. And one thing that I've learned about Canada is that as opposed to my home country where I was born, where I was bred, you can become anything you want to be. I feel like my country doesn't offer that opportunity to people. Sometimes you could have the potential to become whatever you want to be, but there's very large obstacles that are set in the way for you that you are not able to meet your potential, if I put it that way.
It's a valid point. However, you're a testament to the fact that you can transcend because you have to think outside the environment of just Kenya. And I think it starts with even like your hometown or county. You have to think bigger than it to transcend it in the first place. And I think you are evidence of that. So I think blaming Kenya in itself sometimes, don't expect too much from Kenya in itself. Mm-hmm. You have to think outside it to transcend it whilst being a Kenyan, I feel.
True. I do agree because I also do have friends who have, worked their ways, somehow, and they've been able to achieve great things while they were still, based in Kenya. I was able to make a couple of films when I was still in Kenya when think about what you just said right now. If I grew up in Kisii, So if I was based in Kisii, born in Kisii, went to school in Kisii, by now I'd probably be, a husband to my wife with like 3-4 kids waiting to retire.
How many cows?
Probably 50 cows or something, maybe. And that would be life for me. That would be everything that I had. I don't own a single car right now, but I think that the world has given me opportunities that,
but you also seized
mean
them.
Way more.
You seized them. They presented themselves and you seized them. And you dared to even go after them, because how many people do you think in our ecosystem have yield? I talk to my father all the time, and even on Saturday I was driving home from the gym and he called, and we're just having a discussion around how if you accept Kenya is in a bad state, it enters your psyche and it'll manifest even in how your life exists. So we're like, Sawa, people say, Maze Kenya say Z.
But I think that
for you,
so what I would love to do is to give back to my community so that they're able to have the same opportunities that I've had wherever I've been. There's, a case to be made for Kenya becoming a scientific hub for the world, because I think we have very bright individuals here. The only thing that we don't have is people who think outside the box to take up resources. So one of the things that we're doing is, when I came over is, so my institution is giving up this electron microscope. It's a $200,000 machine.
Giving out to whom?
It was being decommissioned and basically taken to the gutter to be discarded. And so I said, you know what? Can I have this? They said, sure, you can have it, but you have to find a way of transporting it to wherever you want to take it. So it's
wait. 200K?
Yeah, $200,000.
Yo,
Yes.
Can I broker the can I broker the deal, bro?
Of course you can. And it's given out for free. So I've gone to Camry. I've gone to my old institution, JQuat.
Give it to me, bro.
Of course you can have it. So you just need to have $20,000 to ship it over here. And probably $2,000 for the technician who's coming to set it up. But in order for you to set it up here, you need a place to set it up.
How big is it?
It's probably could fit in maybe 2 of these rooms. The entire size of the machine is this room big, but you need like a space like 2 of these rooms.
Who would have the best utility case for it in Kenya?
I think Camry would have. Camry would. It's an environmental scanning electron microscope. So you see, it can see down to the cellular level, microcellular level, so beyond the cellular, so even to the nucleus level. So you can see to the nucleus level. But the good thing is that you can see it wet. So most of the cells that, in order for you to image a cell, you either have to plaster it onto a glass slide and a cover slip. But I mean, you really can't see the micron level of this cell, because it's encased in its cell membrane.
Would they buy it from me, Camry?
So Camry would get it for free. I was basically bring the machine for free to Camry.
Would they buy it from me, Camry?
Would they buy it from you? I guess. I mean, if you want to have it and then they buy it from you, probably.
Throw a price, man. 7M. 7 mic, bro. Come on, let's do this, man. Come on, man. That's simple math, you guys.
Yeah, and you see that
is Kenya.
That is what I was talking about. So you see, things like this block the opportunities, because I think that one of the reasons why it's been hard for me to get it here is because there's someone who wants something, give me something so it can come around.
This is how a Kenyan would do it. You go to the head of procurement, you tell him, boss, let's make a case for this thing to be used in here, which is simple. Like you said, it's super. It can see down to the cellular level. In fact, the microcellular level, as you put it. Let's create a pitch deck for finance to pay 10 mic for this. 2 mic, you ship it. So you say 20K. So let's say 2.5 mic. Costs are covered. 8 million difference, bro. 4 million yours.
I mean, if you can make the case for it that way, I mean, be my guest. I'll be happy for you to do it. The problem is, I'm not able to operate that way, because I mean it's being given to me for free. So why would I want to make money?
So the Western ethics have positively affected you.
I think so, and the reason why I say that is because, like I told you, man, the Canadian government spent $1 million on me. So let's imagine my supervisor decided to take the $1 million and buy a vacation home for himself down in Mexico somewhere or something. I would wouldn't be here now. And so that is the case to be made. But years ago, I saw some kids being sponsored to go to school, I think in Australia. Some president's kids being sponsored by the government to go to school in Australia.
President's kids?
President's grandkids or something, or nephews or something. From one of the former presidents. Those kids would afford to go to school. Their grandfather or their uncle, whoever it was.
In Kenya?
Yeah, in Kenya. They were Kenyan. But the government gave a bursary for them to go to school in Australia.
This is Moi?
No, it came after Moi. I don't want to mention the name.
The main man backs.
I don't want to say anything. You said it.
So how long did it take you to adapt to Canadian culture? Because from Kisii to Canada, it's a different world. It's a different ethos. It's a different pace.
Yeah.
It's a different infrastructure even. I've been to Canada. I was there for a month. You live there. I mean, I was astounded by just how it's a beautiful place. Life is fast.
Very.
I like the fast pace though. It's very attractive. It's very seductive. How did you adapt? How was that adaptation for you?
I had family there who enabled me to adapt. So, growing up in Kisii, I had the opportunity to travel here and there and see the world before I eventually moved. And so that move for me essentially wasn't, didn't come as a very big shock or big surprise. I think the only thing that I struggled with is work. So my first job, I was cleaning signboards. You see the signboards that say Moyale or 500 kilometers away.
Yeah.
So I used to go in a
crate.
A cradle, be inside the crate or cradle, and then hoist myself up to the level.
Hoist yourself?
Yeah, the hoist is right there. The buttons are right. The gears are right there.
Are you tethered?
You're tethered to the crate.
Yeah.
Actually, that was my second job. My very first job, I was installing those signboards on buildings.
So where do you get the know-how? That's a specific skill set.
To install the signboards?
Yeah.
So this guy put up an ad on Kijiji. So there's a website called Kijiji. Put up an ad. He's looking for a guy to assist him in doing this sort of job. So I basically sent in my response. I'm there. So I'm 26 years old. Blah blah blah. I have no fear of heights. I have no this and that. So I can do the job.
Did you know at this point whether or not you had a fear of heights? Were you sure?
Generally, I mean, I wasn't. I thought that I would handle heights. I mean, general heights. I mean, I wasn't very afraid of heights and stuff like that. But I wasn't. I didn't know what I was going to do until I got there. So I get there. So the first thing is the guy looks at me like, "You're 26." I was 26 at this 25 at this point. You're 25? I mean, you don't look 25. Because guys in Canada are big and bigger.
Because they've been eating good food, man. You just landed there trying to get.
So I'm over there, man, and so anyway, he gives me the job, man. So we go up a ladder that is against the wall. I go up a ladder that's against the wall. The guy is in a crate on his truck. So he's in a crate on his truck. We put a signboard. One of the side is on the crate, and the other side I'm lifting it up the ladder onto the wall, man. I think that was the scariest day of my life. And it was cold.
How heavy is it?
I'd say maybe 20 kilos, give or take.
How much are you being paid for this?
The guy was paying me $25 an hour.
Is that a lot?
Cash. So in the grand scheme of things, it must have been a lot because the minimum wage I think was $16 or $14 then or something. So
the extra $10 is for the risk.
I think so, man. And I remember one day so we are doing this in a building, and then the manager of the building comes out and says, "Do you guys have a license to do this?" So I have no idea, man. I just got here maybe a couple months ago, so I have no idea, man, that we're supposed to have a license or not. So somehow we went and chilled in the car until it was nighttime, and then we went out and put up the sign, man. The guy was from Iraq.
Did you sign an indemnity for him?
Man, I didn't sign nothing, man. I just walked in and started working.
So if in case you died, you'd have just left. What other jobs did you do? That's an interesting one.
I applied to. I didn't get this job though. I applied to walk a tiger. So this guy put up an ad that he wants.
Is this being strapped for cash? You're strapped for cash. You're applying to walk tigers.
I mean, it was a job that was available. I mean, I generally had a place to sleep. I had a way to, move around. I bought a car. And so, I mean, it's a job that is there. So let's apply. I mean, if you are putting up this ad for you need a tiger walker, the tiger must not be dangerous.
How much is the?
I think he was paying maybe $20 an hour or something like that.
I ain't doing no $20 to walk a tiger, bro. Come on, man. You gotta love yourself, man. Come on, man.
Yeah. So, anyways, I applied for the job, and I said, I said I was working with big cats in Kenya. So I applied to the ad. The guy was very interested in me, but then I think some of the deals, so I probably found someone else to do the tiger walking.
What other jobs did you do?
I drove for Uber for a while.
How was that?
That was interesting. I met very interesting folks. I remember when I was driving for Uber, I wanted to do a pod in the car. So not like a pod. Now it will be a version of a pod, but I wanted to put up a camera and have a conversation with the guys because I was having very interesting conversations. And I found most of the folks I was riding with to be very low-level thinkers, if I put it that way. So
You mean like basically the masses, basically?
Well, not really. I mean, generally, they wouldn't be thinking, or our conversations wouldn't be aligned. But there's times I would meet folks whose ideas or knowledge of the world would align with mine, and I think those sparked me to be very, quite interesting. But I think that I don't have very extreme stories as some of my friends would. So I have friends who've done very interesting jobs. I had this guy who used to work a security job. So I think he got to Canada and he worked 3 security jobs. So he'd walk from one job. So the 3 jobs were close to each other. So he'd work the 3 jobs simultaneously. Like it's an 8-hour shift, but I think they overlap. 5 hours are overlapping all the 3 jobs. And the supervisors never found out that he was working the 3 separate facilities until one day the guy just decided to sleep in his car. He was just sleeping. And then the supervisor somehow shows up and he knocks on his door, and then the guy was fired from that one job, and some of the other 2 jobs, disappeared. And what this speaks, I think, is the resilience of folks from
immigrants,
folks from the rest of the world, man. When they get there, they grind, man. They grind. They do all sorts of things just to survive.
And what other adaptations did you have to adapt to? Let's even talk about things like food.
Oh man, I think I'm gonna be boring that aspect because I had family, and so Gali was there for me, and mboga za kienyeji I would get them from. I have a family in the US, and so they'd send us mboga za kienyeji.
Had you met your wife yet?
I met my wife in Kenya before I left.
Oh, so you didn't get to interact with the Canadian lasses?
Those ones are tricky, man. They might throw you under the bus anytime.
Talk about it.
I don't know. So I find. You see, the way we've grown up and being indoctrinated with our culture, I find it very hard to integrate. I found it very hard to integrate with them on an intimate level because of the ideologies I think that they espouse.
Woke?
I think I am leftist. If that were a point to
think about. So in that you kind of align already.
In that we kind of align already, but I would find that they would. The one thing that I feared was being trapped, man, because I see what happens when you get there. You get into the relationship with this girl, and then you somehow get a child together.
What do you mean somehow?
I don't know.
You get into a relationship with her, and one day you're walking on the road, and then she's pregnant.
Somehow she's pregnant. You don't know. I have no idea what happened, man. Just happened. She just happened to be pregnant. I think if you get into this sort of situation, I think your life tends to take a very different turn because there's someone you're probably not aligned with. You're not planning to spend your life together with them. So I've seen, especially girls from the Caribbean who are Canadian, essentially, then you find that a number of them would have multiple children with multiple guys, and they basically live that way. So it's like they live off of these children's benefits from either the government or from the
That's
guys.
a work life, though.
I think so too, and it's pathetic. And when you look at the opportunities that are there for you, and you deciding to live this kind of life, I think it is sad.
Why are there so many Indians in Canada?
Oh, I think they.
I couldn't, bro. From the moment I landed, I was in Toronto, bro. From the hotel, man.
From how about your flight from Europe?
Like, you guy, the receptionist at the hotel, but he was more like urbanized. He had a loop here. He's like, yeah, welcome, man. You guys from Kenya, Jumbo Jet. Yeah, he was a bit cool. But then, like the taxi guys, man, Kalasinga, yeah, bro. To see like a normal white person was like
rare, right?
Yeah, man. The Popeyes where we'd eat.
All the Indians are serving.
We used to go to this Somali restaurant called Hibis.
Yeah.
That was nice.
Yeah.
They thought we were cops because of our hairstyle. But why are there so many Indians, bro?
I think this is what happened. The Canadian government once upon a time went to India with a big sign written, Canada is open, in front of all the embassies, and just lifted it up, and all the
Is this a labor deficit that you guys have?
So what I've found is that Indians are kind of like an integrated society. When they go somewhere and they find opportunities, they call each other, they call their friends, relatives, neighbors or whatever, and they move there.
We found something here.
I think that's what happened. So most of them came as, I think, students. So the same way that I told you. So there was a period of time, I think in 2019 to 2020, during COVID, that time, there was very many private colleges that were open. And so what the Indians would do, they would apply to these private colleges. They would come study any course. So they would come and study this course in, let's say, a business diploma in something. It's a 1-year program. So the 1-year program, you'd get a work permit. You work there 1,000 hours, so the 2,000 hours. So it's 1,000 hours, actually, not 2,000. 1,000 hours, you qualify for a PR. You apply for a PR. You bring over so once you have your PR, then you can bring over your spouse if you have one.
So if my wife was there before me and she got her PR,
she could bring you over.
I could go there and fly for Air Canada?
Of course. Well, you could. Flying for Air Canada is, it's a merit based, but you would go.
Because I'm black, bro?
No, not because you're black.
Because I'm black?
It's very competitive. I've seen. So what most folks would do is they would need to collect an enormous amount of hours. So they'd probably go fly for the ambulances.
Bro, I have a good amount, bro. I have quite a few hours, man.
Yeah, then you're probably good. Most of the...
And my instructor in Canada told us before we left, he was
he a fighter jet pilot?
My sim partner was an ex-Air Force, Kenya Air Force. But my instructor was an ex-Turkish Air captain.
Yeah.
And he was from one of these, not Iran, Iraq, one of those.
Yeah.
And he used to fly the 747. Anyway, before we left, he's like, hey, and guys, let me tell you, you black people, you're from Africa. I tell you, you're better than this guy. I train a lot of your Canadian.
Yeah.
You're better than them. Don't ever let anyone feel, if you see some of the things they do in the simulator.
Yeah.
So, bro, there's nothing like competition, bro. Us guys are the shit, man. Don't ever get it twisted.
Yeah.
Don't ever get it twisted about Kenyans.
I totally do agree. So the only problem is this, and I've seen it with even, Kenyan doctors who come there, very brilliant guys, Kenyan teachers who come there. Think about any career you can think of. When they come there, it's like you gotta start from the trenches again. And so I see very many people demoralized. So let's say you are an accountant here, you get there, nobody recognizes you're a brilliant accountant. You can even, do all the math without a calculator or without a ledger book and all that kind of stuff. But because nobody gives you that opportunity, then you end up having to do something else. So for instance, I was lucky to get a job as an engineer, but I have friends who've moved there. They went to school around the same time as I did, but they never got the similar opportunities that I did. And most of the time, it's not because you don't have the smarts. It's only because they always ask for this thing they call Canadian experience.
And how long does that take to Ghana?
Canadian experience? I think for different people, it's honestly, there's a guy who would arrive in Canada today and they have a job next week. There's a guy who will take 10 years before they get like a proper job.
Or a job in their field.
Yeah, a job in their field. So most of people eventually give up. They go to school to study something totally different.
But bro, you've lived an interesting life. And like you said, you pick up things. I want us to now talk about Couch Connect. How do you land at Couch Connect? What's the inspiration? What's the motivation?
During COVID, man.
Put Couch Connect on the screen, man. This is one of the best podcasts out of Kenya. And I'm saying that not to torture you. I've experienced it. I've watched it. It's brilliant, man. So how do you land at Couch Connect?
Thanks for the credit, man. Thanks for that. So it's an interesting story. So I always had all my cameras since back in the day. They were just lying around. I just had nothing to do with them. Nothing to do them with. And so during COVID, I'm like, man, I have these cameras here. So what do I do with them? I'm like, maybe I could start a podcast. And so what kind of podcast do I start? So there's a Australian lady. She used to have this thing called Sabbath Sing-Along. So we are both Adventists. So I said, I'm going to start a Canadian equivalent of the Sabbath Sing-Along. But I want it to be like the Tiny Desk sort of, and the Joe Rogan experience.
Aren't you breaking Sabbath by having a sing-along?
It's a religious experience that we're sharing together. Yeah. And so I'd go set up in people's homes, set up the equipment. Took me about an hour. My cousin Kevin, shout out Kevin, getting married this week. So Kevin would help me set up the equipment, and then he'd be like the producer's a live show, so he'd be the guy switching the equipment. My sound was whack though, so I have all my episodes since episode 1, so my sound is very terrible because none of us was a sound guy and we didn't know how to mix the sound live. So I was speaking, and when speaking, you project the sound differently as opposed to when you're singing. So your voice is lower when you're speaking, and so there was that those challenges. And so we did, I think, 22 episodes of that, and I burnt out, man, because I used to come back home at like
sing parts of song, bro. Come on now, man. Come on, man. I'll harmonize for you, man.
You'll harmonize for me? What song do you want me to sing? I'll sing you a hymn.
Sing.
Oh man,
it's either gonna be the funniest shit on earth,
this is gonna be the funniest thing,
or the most surprising shit on earth.
Oh man. Come on. I can't even find a song, man. You gotta give me a song to sing.
It doesn't have to be. It can be a secular Coldplay.
No. Yeah, I'm gonna. You know what? I'm gonna sing my favorite song. But I'm probably gonna need a soundtrack, man.
By the Migos, or
what's that?
It's by the Migos, or who's it?
No. It's by Coldplay.
Okay, let's go. Yeah, hey, I convinced you, man.
Viva la vida.
Okay. Took what they offered me. No, I used to rule the world.
Seas would rise when I gave the word. I gotta find the lyrics, man.
Ding, 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 ding.
I used to rule the world. Seas would rise when I gave the word. Now in the morning I sleep alone. Sleep the streets I used to own. Yeah, whatever it goes, man. I don't have the lyrics, but
no, leave it like that, man. At least you have the courage to sing, man. That takes some balls.
But I play the guitar though.
You picked it up.
Classical guitar, yeah.
So Couch Connect, yeah.
Yeah, so we used to go and sing hymns and stuff, and then I think it just wasn't working. So I burnt out, left the equipment lying around for about 3 years. So last year...
Why hymns and not conversation?
So we do both, hymns and conversation. But I guess because I had something I was emulating, like that lady, so I didn't think about conversation at that point. Someone mentioned you probably should do like conversations. Like now everybody's doing podcasts, so one might be different, stuff like that. And so last year, I was looking at my equipment. I was like, man, this equipment is lying around, and I have so many friends that we can just sit down and have conversations with. And I was a great fan of Mwafrika's pod, Ikonini.
Ikonini. Shout out Ikonini, man. Shout out Mwaf, shout out Ian. I love those guys, man. And
so one day I just have a conversation with Mwaf, and he tells me, man, just start. And that's how it started. So I got my cousin on.
Answer too. What? Just start.
And that's how it went, man. So I called my cousin over and we record the first pod. My cousin is a real estate investor. So we talk about real estate investment in Canada and what that's been like for him, what his journey has been like in Canada. And I really like the conversation. So that's like my second episode, like when we started doing this sort of thing. Because the first episode is me introducing the remaking of the Couch Connect. And so I think I've had very interesting conversations, amazing conversations. And so and it's gone through many phases. So it started with the religious phase, and then I move off to talking about science and mixing with religion and what people are doing. But now I just sit down and have a chat with people and get to know who the people are. And I guess along the way, I keep rediscovering different ways of doing it and getting better at it.
Do you cringe at your old episodes? I do.
The singing ones.
I sometimes go back to put a singing Couch Connect episode on the screen, man. We used to watch. I've gone back to some of my first episodes, like even the camera angle, the sound of like I can't believe that I put that out there. But go back to Joe Rogan's basement episodes, man. It was garbage.
Yeah.
Even conversationally, you're like, oh, Joe did always got it.
Yeah,
it's a skill.
And so I've decided to leave all my episodes on, even if they were, however they were.
That's how you do it, bro.
Everything is on there.
So what's been your most fulfilling part of this journey, podcasting, and most challenging as well?
I think so. My podcast is set in such a way that it's a traveling podcast. So my equipment fits in 3 suitcases, and I travel with them anywhere. So I could fly over to the US or here or Europe or whatever, and just sit down with a guy and we do it. So I think the most challenging is I didn't foresee the level of experience that I was going to encounter when doing it, because I think that most of the time it's always easy when you just set it up in one place and folks come over and you do it over there. But for me, the fact that I have to travel to all these places sometimes is very challenging, financially. But then again,
you bowling, man. This guy bowling, man. I know how much this guy makes a year, man. He bowling, man.
I in the grand scheme of things, I don't think I'm, at the top echelons of society.
You're not in Monaco in a Ferrari, but you're a long way from. Yeah.
And so, so the challenging part was, put in this much effort to only get like 200 views, 50 views. I did an episode on Pope, on the Pope's death, and I got like 50 views or something. That was very demoralizing.
But can I tell you how I reconciled that myself? And because we're so desensitized to views that we remove views from people. 50 guys watched. What the fuck are you talking about? You're demoralized. 50 guys tuned in. Those are 50 individuals.
Yeah.
Like, we've trivialized views because, of course, we have the Rogans of this world getting 4 million views.
Yeah.
Candice Owen yesterday got, within 5 hours, she had 1.2 M views. Like, that's people to know, of course, and it's a global reach.
Yeah.
But also, I've learned to respect my core audience more. Right? The guys who tune in every single time.
Yeah.
Right now, I think I have about 2K of those guys who are like, Eotwe. And I love you guys.
I think I have probably 200.
And you have to respect. In fact, they're the people who deserve the most respect.
Yep.
When you have an episode with 100K, there's a lot of guys are just flying by.
Yeah.
Wow, nice episode. But this 200, 2,000 guys who are tuning in every single time, whether you have Dwayne Johnson on or you have me on, they're tuning in the same vein. So just when you switch that mindset, you will never worry so much about the views. And they also say if you live by the another thing I also tell people be very careful of is compliments and critique. If you live by the years, you'll die by the bulls.
Yeah.
So guys will be in the comments, oh my god, that was so good, that was so good, that was so good. You have to be careful.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to be careful. Both ways.
When I was listening to Sajid once, and so he said that, what he just said, I think he said we started off and I think he got like 500 views. And
don't trivialize people, man.
And he said that, and I think since that day when he said that, maybe that was probably a few months ago or something. I think ever since I became very motivated now. I'm trying to churn out 2 episodes a week. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to sustain it, but I'm trying to sustain it as long as I can.
And the algorithm also rewards consistency.
Yeah.
Kisiangani. For the longest time, he was having a specific. He wasn't transcending a certain number. I told him, bro, don't ever stop. You guys are churning out almost every 4 times a week. Don't stop, bro. At some point, he's earning just because of consistency. This is also a game of consistency. It's a game of grit. It's a game of may I say no shame. That's my personal philosophy when it comes to getting guests, because we're growing. If Ruto blue ticks me, I'm gonna be like, this guy msame mini blue tick, sijamuongelesha tena. I'll message him another 1,500 times because I'm the one who needs.
But how do you decide that you're gonna keep messaging folks? Because there's these folks that have tried talking to, send them 2 texts or something.
Have you tried calling?
Tried calling. Also, they don't pick. A few days ago, a politician whacked me, man. She called me, so I texted them. I tell her, I'd like to have you on the pod. I've been your fan for ages or something. So I write everything in one text. So this is who I am. This is what I do.
Here's a link.
Here's where I shoot, and this is what my hope of these episodes is going to be like. So like we'd probably shoot together, and then we'd probably have a meal before or after the show. So the politician calls me. She tells me, you know what? I wasn't gonna respond to this sort of message. When I get this sort of messages, I ignore them and block them. But for you, I just decided to call because you seem like a genuine guy. So I'm gonna give it to you straight. See, leaders of my stature don't.
We don't deal with peasants. You, sir,
I will not be motivated by a meal and an Uber trip to this place. You know where I shoot from. You can motivate a Gen Z and entice them with a trip to that place and a meal. I'm not trying to demean you or elevate myself, man. But at that point, I was already feeling so demeaned.
Does the name start with a G? How did I know?
How did you know?
Defense against the dark arts. I knew.
Are you a Hogwarts graduate?
Welcome to Hogwarts, School of Witches and Wizardry. I knew that.
Have you had an experience with that?
No, from the demeanor and the tone, I can already tell.
Yeah.
Because to me, that's the kind of person she presents as. And it means a lot of things about what has been said about her probably true, one, and she's bitter. That just confirms that. But I respect the correspondence.
Yeah, I would still love to have her on.
So what I'd advise you in that case, and I'm not guru, but also posture your messages differently depending on who you're messaging. Also, that's a fair point.
I think that's what she was trying to get to.
Ruto, I am willing to take you to Art Cafe after our encounter. I can send you an Uber. Do you prefer Excel or Chap? You can come.
And you see where I'm coming from, man. In Canada, I can hang out with the Prime Minister. I was skiing with the former Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, man.
Say it with your chest, man.
Yeah, we skied together on some hill, Mont Tremblant. And we just bumped into each other. We were skiing there. And then 2 days later, I see a post of folks making fun of him.
Was he as soft as people say? He has some faggoty tendencies. And not faggot in the way Louis C.K. uses the word faggot.
Yeah.
Not the other one.
I mean, the guy is, I think he's gentle. He has a gentle spirit, which is, I think, I would give credit to him for that. I feel like the world is very brutal right now to anybody who presents with gentleness. Even our current Prime Minister right now is sort of teetering on the edge of gentle, trying to seem macho and
firm.
Yeah, but I mean, that is the kind of, community we present as, I believe. Canadians naturally are presented as very, very kind-hearted people, people who are caring and generous and stuff like that.
That's what you guys are about. Only few people will understand that. So let me ask, what's the ultimate vision for the Couch Connect, the science, the professing? What does this look like in the next 2 years?
Honestly, I don't know. And I will say I don't know because a friend of mine recently diagnosed me with ADHD. I don't subscribe to that because I have my fingers in so many parts at the moment. And my hope is that my pod...
He diagnosed you as a doctor?
She's a psychologist.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so we were hanging out and just having a chat.
Did you do the test?
I didn't take a test, but she asked me a bunch of questions. Later on, I came to realize that those questions she was asking me were questions out of her psychometric test.
Do you struggle to complete tasks? Do you complete tasks?
Of course, I do complete tasks, but I struggle to complete tasks, to answer your question.
That's the biggest one.
Yeah, and I mean, but for me, it's still fulfilling. Even if I were to get it to whatever level, man, I did it. And but the reason why I am happy with where I'm at right now is because I've been able to do so much even if I've not completed some tasks, I think that I've still been able to complete so much that I would never been able to accomplish in my lifetime if I lived, say, 200 years ago. So one of the things that I haven't completed yet is, getting my PPL. And I think the day that I get it, I will feel so accomplished because this is something that I've been working on for, I'd say 5 years now.
It's a time factor, you said.
I just don't have the time because I have all these other things going on. So going back to your question, I hope to grow the pod to a level where I can, hang out with anybody and have these discussions, because I want to have these discussions for the sake of my daughter or, kids of the future, whatever. I don't know if my pod will be interesting enough for them to watch, to sit down and listen to, but I hope it will. And maybe the perspective that I also bring on while having a chat with my guests will be helpful, will be important. I know for a fact that in 2 years, my research will probably not, have made it to human trials. But I hope that whatever I create 2 years from now will create a stage that will enable any other scientists coming after me, or even myself as I continue with the, with research, to have a softer landing in the future. You see, leukemia is a bad disease. So we're working on bone marrow right now. That's why I gave reference to leukemia earlier on. We're working on bone marrow. So bone marrow transplants are a 50-50% chance of working, even when they are from donors and recipients who are matching. And the sad thing is, seeing families fighting for their loved ones and then the loved ones dying without getting that bone marrow transplant that works for them. So if we are able to crack, the creation of bone marrow, which is the next simplest tissue after, I'd say, bone or cartilage, I think that would be a great achievement. So in 2 years, hopefully, we'll probably have some working bone marrow that can be implanted into mice or some animal trials at least. And that gives a stage then or a case for human trials in the next 5 to 7 years. My students, man, so I love my students. So I teach 4th and 5th year engineering students and medical residents. So these are medical doctors who are doing their first job. They're specializing in something. And so in 2 years, I hope to have created an impact in their lives, man, especially those doctors. They're going to practice in their respective fields. I hope that they will take something from me, from my teaching practice. My teaching practice is based on Ubuntu. So love one another, collaborate as much as possible, because that is how you are able then to grow, as opposed to the capitalistic approach where you want to work by yourself and grow by yourself. So if you're creating an innovation for the medical field, then grow together. I have this principle running in my business whereby I push collaboration as much as I can. So the apps that we create, we push collaboration with other people creating other apps. If we're creating any product, we are always pushing for collaboration. How can we collaborate with this other developer working in say Slovakia or something to create a superb product? And I think Aluta continua.
Are you proud of yourself?
Oh man, super proud, man.
I think you should be, man. I think the things you've done and accomplished, the journey you've walked so far, what I see is a lot of fearlessness. You dare to go where many haven't, and with that kind of daring comes great reward if you stay the course.
Or a big fall.
So, yeah, that'll come here and there, man. We'll have moments, but you'd rather have soared and dare to soar than just chill on the porch, You'd rather just take that leap of faith. And I think that's something that's manifested in your life. And there's a lot for you to be proud of, man. Podcast's amazing. Your career is amazing. I mean, I think what you've been able to do in Canada and even your adaptability there, you still have, you don't whine about either. You don't whine about Kenya. You don't whine about Canada. You're here when you're here. It sounds like you're there when you're there. Your mindset as well. So it's something a lot of people can borrow a leaf from. And
I want to ski for Team Kenya. I think I told you that on my pod. I'm gonna be competing as a cross-country skier in 2030.
You see, the first
Olympics.
The first thing that came to mind when you said that was be careful. But you see, that would be implanting fear. And for you to ski successfully and beat Team Kenya.
Cross-country skiing is safer than downhill skiing. Downhill skiing is more dangerous. The speeds are crazy.
Those guys are hauling ass, man.
Yeah, man. I told you about the kid that I saw down the French Alps. He's Kenyan. He's a Kenyan kid. And I initially wanted to do downhill skiing. But after seeing him, I was like, no.
Dangerous. And he's way advanced.
Yeah. The good thing is that I've seen people who are my age competing downhill. So if I can see people my age, I mean, and they're from Haiti. So I saw this chick from Haiti competing for Haiti in the... it wasn't like the Olympics. I think...
she barbecues daughter.
Maybe, I don't know.
Because how does a chick from Haiti ski in Canada? Anyway, that's what
I don't think she's barbecue's daughter, but anyways, if she is, I mean, she's doing an amazing job, and hopefully her dad probably finds a way to reconcile whatever he's doing.
I want to finish off with a quick fire of sorts. I want to ask you a few questions, and we'll end on that note.
Hey, tough questions. Okay, that's
no, nothing too tough.
Are they yes or no questions?
The either or.
Okay.
So I'll start with Joe Rogan or Stephen Bartlett. And why? No. Come on, man.
So I'd lean more to Stephen Bartlett. There's more structure.
Doesn't the structure take the fun out of it, bro?
Possibly, but I find also the line of guests that he brings on are kind of like people that for Joe Rogan, I pick and choose. I mean, I want to see what they're going to talk about this guy because I know this guy. But for Stephen Bartlett, I'll listen to any of them because I think the way he chooses them is they've written. I think all his guests are authors of some sort. I think he picks a lot from what they've written, and so I find it enriching in such a way that I can also read their books while they're on the pod without actually having to read their books.
Okay,
I figure out.
It's a fair answer. Holistically, all round. Kenya or Canada?
Kenya anytime, man.
Talk about it.
I think there's some sort of peace that you get here that I get here that I can't get anywhere else. Mostly because this is home. This is where I grew up. A friend of mine recently asked me, is home a place or a person? Initially, when I answered, I said home for me is Kisii, where I grew up. I was there 2 days ago, man. Massive house, but very empty because everybody's flown off of the nest. And it felt very lonely, but it still felt like home for me because I felt at peace. And so when I come over to the city here, I mean, I feel like I have access to all the folks that I need to hang out with here. In Canada, well, I have family there and I have friends there and I have a career going there and things are going great. You feel like you're always being pinched or pushed or sitting on some needles. You need to stand up and, get moving all the time. And I don't find that there. Of course, there's people who are going to find that there for them. And the fact that there's opportunity here, man, I feel like the next frontier is Africa, Kenya, for that matter. And when we get science working here, I think I'm going to land on a very soft landing here.
Second last question. Hinduism or Islam?
That is a nasty question. I would compare the two. I feel like Islam is extreme, man. And anything that is extreme, anything that has an extreme or some teaches on extremism has some sort of problem with it. I think moderate is better. So I think Hinduism would probably be better because it's moderate.
Okay. Last question. Wealth for 20 years or long life? Being that you're 35. Wealth for 20 years?
Long life anytime, man. We'll figure out the wealth. We'll figure out the life. How about you for the wealth? 20 years or life?
Long life.
Yeah, I mean, I want to see what the world... Do you imagine what the world is going to be?
Provided it's not like long life of suffering or wealth. Just long life that's for me.
Generally okay.
Yeah.
I mean, same way. Would you consider yourself wealthy right now?
No, far from.
I mean, many people looking at you, a pilot, man.
Pilots are not wealthy.
When we were kids, man, growing up, we were saying, I want to be a pilot, I want to be a pilot. So
pilots are not wealthy. Far from.
Explain that.
Pilots have a relatively good salary, but far from wealthy. Mm-hmm. There are pilots who've been able to create wealth and leverage the capital that they got from flying to pivot into something greater. Mm-hmm. So and have created wealth. You have Ronald Karauri as a true north for that from our region.
Yeah.
We have Mentor Pilot as a true north from a bigger scope. But piloting in itself is not wealth generating, if you understand what wealth actually means. So that's my
So being a pilot is like any other job.
It is.
Generally.
Yeah. I'm working today later. Tired, but I'm working today later. It's a job, bro.
Yeah, you gotta show up.
You gotta show up, man. It's a job.
How are you able to maintain yourself? I mean, you're tired, but you're gonna be flying folks, man. How do you navigate that?
There's this thing that companies do at the end of the month. They send you.
Are we almost done? The cards are running out?
Yeah, we have 30 minutes, but this camera is overheating.
Okay.
There's this thing that companies do at the end of the month that reflects in your account. That's the reason. Yeah. So how am I doing it right now? I love flying, but I also understand that I have to fly right now.
Yeah.
For me to sustain everything I got going.
Yeah.
It's integral. And it's integral resources, yes. But also my sense of purpose. I get a lot of purpose from flying. Yeah, I'm not going to be dishonest. Like when I stay too long outside the flight deck, I feel a bit lost. So it's like it's my heroin, man.
Yeah.
It's my fix. I love it. So
I wish we'd put that, money.
Yeah.
But I think you'll get a corporate strike.
But get that idea that pilot. And if you're watching, get that idea that pilots are wealthy out of your head. It's not true. Yeah.
And I would even say so are, doctors and, whatever else. I think professors, everybody knows professors are not wealthy.
Yo, I know how much you earn, bro. You made that mistake. You told me, man. And I'm going to be putting his phone number on the screen right now. In case you guys need money, you need to... No, but thank you so much for making time, bro. Thank you so much for making time. Like, I think you have a great conversation style. You have a wealth of knowledge in terms of everything you've interfaced with. Exposure. I say exposure in this life is king. You can expose yourself to books, information, but also travel and being able to see the world. It opens your worldview. So I think it's something that you carry and you carry well, man. So this has been an amazing conversation, man. I thank you for coming to Every Other Time with Eric, man. Thank you for hosting on your platform, man. Thank you for dinner. You're a better host than I am.
No, it's been beautiful having this.
I provided a whole Coca-Cola for him,
The guy gave me 550 milliliters. 549.5 actually.
And you promised me something I'm gonna hold you to, and I'll try.
Come on, man.
I want to come to Canada.
Whenever you're ready, come on.
I'm gonna come to Canada, man, and I'm gonna come on a budget for. I'll pay for my return
you just
ticket.
Need your return ticket. That's it, man.
And a bit of pocket money. Kidogo float. Bro, I want to explore, man. Because when I was there, I didn't get time to explore the way I would have liked, man. I didn't even go to Niagara Falls, bro. So
sure. I mean, people go to. I mean, that's the closest thing you should have done, man. Niagara Falls.
I didn't. I went to CN Tower, though. That was nice.
Okay.
It's beautiful, man.
Yeah.
You could see where Porter Airlines operate out of. You could see the airfield right there.
Yeah.
That was something, man. That was quite nice.
Billy
man.
Bishop Airport.
Billy Bishop Airport, yeah.
Billy Bishop was a Canadian fighter pilot during the World War.
Yeah. So I'm gonna hold you to that, man. Just know one day you'll just be chilling Canada now. You just get a WhatsApp saying nigga. Yeah.
No worries, man. Anytime, you're welcome. I think we'll have a great hangout. You probably even go to my flight school and probably you get to rent a small plane and fly.
Anything you'd like to tell my audience before we close?
Man, folks, the world is your oyster. Go explore it, do great things, and everything else will be okay.
Every Other Time with Eric. Couch Connect, Ogato. It's been an amazing episode. If you haven't subscribed to now, please, the kids in Wuhan, for the scientists, for the religious guys, for the SDAs, subscribe, man. Ladies and gentlemen, that's a wrap. Thank you so much.
Yep.
Santi sana, man.